How's this happen? This is my life. Um, Made a joke about the cats on the scratching post or something like that, and sang it to the tune of Whipping Post. And then we all had to listen to Whipping Post. But my oldest child heard Whipping Hose. So I was like, what? But then, then she was like, whipping with a water hose. Like, it's like, okay. Yep. They're crazy, man. You know what it's like. Okay. Wow. Omni. I remember the Omni. Right. Right. I like this version better. Even better. Kiss was your first concert. Mine was Jethro Tull. You familiar with them? Third person Brant talks Animal Crossing. I dig it. Oh, so much fucking news, man. No. Do it next week. I didn't see anything major outside of the stuff we put. I just want to throw that Amazon Cloud thing on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when I said, oh, I forgot something. That was it.
Gotcha.
Because I remembered the Amazon Cloud.
Ooh. That was interesting. Nope. We had Cesar and then he went gigantic again.
Go big or go home.
Oh.
He's going Super Saiyan.
I had to sit there and watch that.
Yes. What a
Nightmare.
game. That was a classic.
I was sitting there when I was working watching it. I was like, damn, this shit's been going on forever.
Pitcher's duel.
Yeah, now everybody's going to be fucking worn out once game 2. Like, yeah. Everybody's going to be fucking tired. Did they go through that whole
I don't think anybody was unspent. You got to win, man. It's best of 3. Now the pressure's on them.
Yeah, it's better than 1 and out. Yeah, we already saw that the Houston trash cans already made it through, so.
Yep. Cheating ass trash cans.
I was pulling for the Twins either way, but it is what it is.
You see they've lost like 18 straight playoff games. Sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Come for the game, stay for the baseball.
That's right. That's right, Brant.
Deportes.
Woo! Go
right,
sports. Our team is way better than your team at the sports.
Yeah, go team. We got to hurry up because I'm about to throw this NBA Finals on my phone at some point.
You remember,
we have like an hour.
Remember that IT crowd where he was like, yay, one guy kicks the ball to the other guy. Everyone cheers. Oh, no, he kicked it to the wrong guy. Everybody boos. Moss was trying to figure out sports.
Or the Moss, yeah. And the other guy got the ball now. And we all cheer. Yeah. Yeah, because they just wanted some bar friends or whatever it was.
There we are, NOFODcast live. It still says episode 127. I did not make it 127. Get out of here. I fixed all those. All right, let's make sure we have our viewers. It's just me. Nope.
I'm on there.
That's only one. But somebody's volume's on. It's probably mine.
It's bullshit.
Unfortunate, because I'm on there.
Still says 1. The hell?
I've got it right here.
Says I was making
Looking
comments.
at it right now.
I don't know who. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who's leaving all these comments in
Why
this
is that
channel
thing
that
say
I'm supposedly
resident
not
sleeper?
on.
What is that? How do you pick these? Are they just in the faces? Yeah.
Oh, I just randomly chose whatever that was. I don't even know
one
what I
says,
chose.
"Hey guys." I don't know what that is either. Hey you guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm logged in as us.
Could be.
Well, that's on the PC. That's me.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna change.
That just may be the live thing. Oh, there's our 3.
Back.
Yeah. All right. We reached max capacity. No more in the room. We have to read Brent's backwards.
Poster. What a series of events.
Huh?
It's what a series of events.
Is it backwards?
It is backwards. It was like I'm looking at you through a mirror.
Apthesba.
What's weird is on mine it's correct. Because when
you have to reverse it in yours because you got to remember you're broadcasting through a mirror world.
see when I did it, it was backwards behind me because I tested all of them, and I was like, oh, it's mirrored, so I'll just flip every image. So
like
now I'm
some
gonna
kinda-
have to go back.
Brent, you're putting forth the effort,
unflip
man. I
every
can't knock
image.
it.
It was like some kind of demon version of Wolfenstein. Yeah, it's like Nisnu
Exobox.
Yeah, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. XOB.
Says article was just delivered.
Food line.
The drink
Mountain Dew and it's calorie free.
The Diet Mountain Lion.
Citrus flavor. Drink. Water. Mine's blurred since we can't afford
we can't afford
endorsements
endorsements
yet, so.
or good software. My number 1 ingredient's water. I'm right there with you. Basically the same thing.
carbonated water.
Diet Mountain Lion. All right, we ready to hit the ground running? Cesar, what time's that game? 9?
Yeah.
We'll get most of the way
9.
there.
I mean, it's only like it only starts at 9. You know, it's gonna be that first bullshit. They're gonna do like 20 minutes of like, oh, this how did we get here? Story.
The road to the NBA Finals.
The new LeBrons versus the old
You just
LeBrons.
summarized it.
I'm ready.
Don't even
I
have
called
to
it.
take that much time now.
I've been calling
You
it this
did.
whole last week. Remember I told you I was gonna be Heat and Lakers. I was like, yep, it's happening. A lot of Lakers. The only thing, and the Tampa Bay one,
Lightning.
the Lightning.
Oh.
You are there, Brent? Looks like you're absorbed in the Matrix.
He's
I didn't have to
troubleshooting.
Flip that one. Fuck.
Brent's troubleshooting
I'm
on the
good.
fly.
I'm just quickly
Brent,
flipping
I liked
these
it,
back.
and I actually liked it backwards. And
Well, that one I don't
you
have
put forth the effort, so I was like, nope, not gonna say anything. I like it.
Yeah, I spent like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes hunting down these images and then having to flip
putting
them
forth the effort.
after looking at them in the
That's why you
looking in the
fucked up.
preview.
You don't put the effort in. You just fucking do it, and you see what happens. And it probably would have worked out.
I'm
fine.
only here so I don't
Right,
get fined.
Yeah.
Fix it. Come on. There we go.
Oh, that ice cream's so good. I wish I had another one. This is actually an official NOFODcast sponsor. Simple Truth, Kroger, Keto.
Still backwards, buddy. Just leave it to words.
Just hold on to
Yeah.
it.
What the heck? I just.
It's
Oh,
okay.
my
You
word.
love the Xbox. That's the marriage. We get
It's
it.
not Xbox and Bethesda. It's Abba, Sithba, and Exobox.
I don't
That
know.
doesn't make any sense.
I can see it through my mirror over here on the right, and
It's not
it
Prey,
comes out
it's
clear.
Europe.
You're good, buddy.
They got that Europe
Yeah.
franchise.
Why you're
Right. Flip it again. All right, I'm gonna do this one more time.
Fans, if you're not here for this is the golden content.
If not, I'm gonna say screw it.
All right, Brent, we're back in your bedroom.
I prefer this background.
This one's flipped.
Oh, and this one is still backwards, buddy.
What
I don't
in the
tell you.
world?
You gotta pay. You got to use the Teams version. They want you to pay money for Teams instead of using Skype.
I don't know. I think they know what I'm trying to do, and they just keep, no matter what I do,
free software.
Like, nope.
Brand, I got one of those cheap capture cards in. Is this the one you got? Yeah.
Really? Yes.
It was $10, so I was like, let's try it out. I don't have the package right.
It's very similar. I'm sure it's the same thing, just repackaged.
Plug and play, no need install driver. Flash drive, high speed port. Capture HD game video.
Save.
Brant's still trying. I see him troubleshooting. I see the look. I see that look in his eye. He's bit by the bug.
It's probably not gonna work. It's probably not gonna work. I've done nothing but just back, and it shows it correctly on my screen.
Is that our...
It shows it correctly on my screen.
I meant to send that to both of y'all, but this is for the or multiple. Might be hard to see.
Jesus,
it's hard to see. Oh, see now I see the Xbox and Bethesda correctly off of the reflection.
That's all we have to do. There we go.
It's working.
I got it. We got it figured out, Brant. Don't worry.
I don't see any of that what you're trying to show me. Control.
Don't worry. This is what is Isildur trying to throw the ring in? There we go.
Cancel one of them and return it. No.
For the multiple
the Elden Ring thing.
Cancel one of them. Return it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm riding off the hopes that my one Xbox Series X one's going to survive. So I only got one
Xbox Series Xbox survives and gets packaged and shipped.
Pre-order, yeah.
This guy will be very happy if your Xbox Series X comes through.
Was that a Burger King or McDonald's?
I can't tell. Specifically marketed as a burger company. They're just showing hey, look, it's for smaller hands. By having him hold a hamburger and the new S controller in there. But they never had the old one. I think they launched with the S controller. Yeah.
In Japan they did, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what
wasn't that Japanese
that
thing?
reference is for.
It's still
backwards. Dude. You gotta stop. This is an obsession.
I'm either gonna have to live with it or just.
I like it, Brant. I say go with it.
Just stop.
We're backwards.
Go with it. You're fine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you put all that time into it. You might as well just fucking rock it.
I'm living in reverse. Yeah. I'm living in reverse, baby.
This is the last time I tried to do something green. Yeah. Let's go with it.
Looks like you have issues. I'm trying to be proper and non-derogatory, but it just looks like you had a hard life.
Hey, he
My
really
room is padded.
likes baseball. He really.
Oh, that's classic. We're just here for laughs, people.
Can't believe it's reversed. Oh well.
It's fine, man. We get the picture. It looks good. You done more than what I've got in the blur background of a giraffe and some kind of white thing.
They're facing opposite directions.
It's not the Resident Evil 6 giraffe, but it is giraffe.
Oh man, as soon as somebody told me about that stupid ass logo, that's all I see. I cannot unsee it.
That's all you
it's
see.
The same thing with GoldenEye. Have y'all seen the GoldenEye one? Have you seen that one, Cesar? The GoldenEye with the gun next to it?
Yeah.
It just looks like an extension of his face.
Yeah.
Oh hell.
I got lost in a thread where they do video game logos that look inappropriate.
Bad Mega Man cover and all.
Oh man, those Mega Man covers are glorious.
All right. Trying not to drink so much I have to bolt out on you guys like last time.
I'm already there with you, man. I'm on my I'm already a gallon of water.
I cut grass and then I finished cutting grass and it was tiring. So
it's gonna be the Brant show at some point. Me and you have to vamoose.
It'll just be a monologue.
It'll be all right.
About his backwards Bethesda and Xbox.
Oh man.
Oh no, I've got more. I've got more. And
It's gonna
apparently
be
they're all
great.
gonna
We
be
can't wait to
backwards.
see every one of them. This will be awesome, Brant. Well done, sir. All right, y'all ready to hit the ground running?
Let's do
Sure.
it. I'll be doing the run. I'll be doing the moonwalk.
All right, let me get us recorded. Moonwalk. I didn't get the reference, Brant. What'd I miss? Moonwalk.
Because I'm
There we
going
go.
backwards.
Now I'm up to speed. Bizarro Brant. That might be our
Bizarro
episode
Brant.
title. If we bring it back up,
BB.
it might be our episode title. All right, where's my record button? There we go.
Oh God, did you get that thing I tagged you on Twitter? That whole description of that whole injury.
No, I read the first part and I was like, no, what am I reading this for?
It's an injury
Yeah,
that happened in
it said
that
it was
West
his
Ham game. Just
groin.
read it again. It's like it went into.
What'd the rest of it say? He pulled his
He
groin.
pulled it. He All right, let me read it to you because I died when I was looking at it because I was watching the game and then I was like, I got to share this to you because it's like whoever.
I was cutting grass. I read that first bit.
It basically it said on here another Everton player down, Allen feeling his groin, making a gesture as though it has been pulled. Pulled it. Somebody's like, describe the gesture. That's what they responded. I was like, and this is a guy reporting on football games for the BBC. I was like, this is weird how he just
What
just
is
went
that?
into
It just
detail
has
on
to
that.
be like holding
Pull
the
his
muscles
groin.
on the outside, right? Like, that's it.
Yeah,
That's all you can do.
he made a gesture to show that his groin was pulled. I don't know. So
Whatever
Whatever
that
that
gesture
means.
looks like.
I don't know. I've not pulled a groin in sports-related injury. So
What other? No.
Just in other injury. Just in other scenarios.
sure.
You left it open for interpretation there. Brant and I took it as the same thing.
Hey, if you want to go over in more detail, let's
Bike,
go.
jogging. Oh wait, you said non-sports.
Wave racing. Oh,
Yeah. Did you
You're
slip
all
on the
naming
floor?
sports things.
Wet floor?
I
Yeah.
just said non-sport. Yeah.
anime related.
You're being chased by tentacles.
Sure. That's one thing.
You were chasing some tentacles.
Then I wake up. Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 128 of the NOFODcast. We are No Outside Food or Drink, the Southeast premier video game podcast. After a 1 week hiatus, we are back better than ever and a shit ton more news than we expected to come back to. Cesar promised us a Tokyo Game Show only show, and Brant fucked it up. We're going to start off with Microsoft acquiring ZeniMax. There was a Series X and S pre-order fiasco that Cesar was a part of. Another Nintendo partner showcase where we got more info on Bayonetta 3. Tokyo Game Show 2020 wrap-up. Metal Gear's coming back to the PC. Metal Gear. I messed that up. Galgun doesn't aim for PS5. Well done, Brant. I don't know what that means. Series X and S memory expansion up for pre-order. You can get your possibly overpriced /Vita memory cards now. Brant talks Animal Crossing updates once again. Thank you, Brant. We got to have that bit. Updated Xbox app will stream games to iPhones at last. It's coming. I've got my iPhone and my Xbox shirt. I'm ready for streaming. Nintendo officially retires this 3DS. It's a sad day for all. Amazon Cloud Gaming has been announced and detailed somewhat. And we have your October PlayStation Plus and Xbox games with gold. That's a shit ton of news. I'm Richard Bergman, joined tonight by Brant McKee.
I'm mirrored, y'all.
Bizarre Brand.
I'm going with Bizarro Brant. I like that more than anything. He's backwards, folks. And looking at me straight ahead is Cesar Concepcion II. CMC2
I'm in the
with
real
the giraffe
world.
bike.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Monkey D. Luffy outfit from what I could tell from here. Straw hat.
Just in the straw hat.
Could work.
You have one sitting around you can put on real quick?
No, unfortunately I don't. I just got the hat. It looks like I'm on the Deadliest Catch.
Which season, though? Those guys don't do so well. All of them?
All of them.
Would y'all ever do something like that and go off and just make bank for that 6 weeks or whatever it is? And just get your ass kicked every day? Not, you know what I mean by ass kicked. Weather, conditions, food, all that stuff.
Hardcore labor.
Yeah.
You know what you mean, hardcore labor. Yeah.
Would you do that? I mean, if you were in a pinch?
No, because that's still a gamble, man. You don't know if you're gonna get the catch you need.
Yeah.
Make all the money get in there.
That's
you
right,
Go
it's
out
like
there and be doing
commission,
that for
isn't it?
nothing.
Has anybody played any of the Deadliest Catch games? Let's bring it back around to what we actually know about.
I may have one for PS3. I think it might have been that phase where I just like, oh, it's $8. I'll buy it on GameFly.
We have all played Chip Disc. We have all played Deadliest Catch though, right? There we go.
Oh yes.
There we go.
Yeah. I think I got up to the wedding part and I just quit after that because I don't know what's happening here.
Specifically the
That's
wedding.
the first part.
Yeah. It was a weird time.
Speaking of weird times, let's talk about Microsoft acquiring Bethesda Softworks parent company ZeniMax and thus inheriting the house of Doom, Evil Within, Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. They did it. This news is like a week and a half old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are catching up after our hiatus. Brant, thanks for carrying the ship last week just by yourself. We didn't expect you to put up an episode, but you did great.
Yeah, well done, the Brant
Bizarro
show.
Brant
Lost
show.
episode.
We do have some lost episodes. I guess I could have thrown one of those up.
Yeah.
Everybody
Archives.
was like, what the fuck
Who are
just
these
happened?
Best of.
Back 2 years.
Who would listen to these old
Yeah.
people?
You have to like start the whole podcast with the share. So if I can turn back time song.
That's the lead
and then
in?
Start playing it. That's the lead in.
No.
That way people will get the whole like, what the hell is happening? Is
Oh,
this
we didn't
April
know
Fool?
anything about next gen. The Switch had just launched that spring. So the Switch is like
I believe
steamrolling
so.
into Mario Odyssey and stuff like that. Like we don't even know what's ahead of us. Might be good for context. So Microsoft spent $7.5 billion for Bethesda games. It's pretty wild. They're now a first-party Microsoft Game Studio. That was a big get. I know the internet was ablaze. Do we have any thoughts? Stuff will be in Game Pass, which I think is a plus.
Yeah.
No, I mean, my only thought is, what are they, 23 studios now, I think they said after this. So they're almost to the point where they need like a couple more, and they can probably release almost 2 games a month on Game Pass, which
Right.
I think that's probably what their goal is. Keep a steady
That is
stream
a
of
good
new
steady
content
flow.
coming through.
Someone pointed out, this wasn't my observation, I just thought it was really good to share. They've kind of corralled themselves into being the house of a Western RPG, whereas PlayStation is still going to maintain kind of the JRPG realm. I thought that was an interesting note.
That'll be interesting to see if that happens, because I know we're about to talk about it, but the sales of Xbox apparently sold the best they've ever done in Japan this year.
Wicked.
The pre-order sales.
They're pushing for Japan. There was a bunch of interviews and stuff that came out around this purchase. One of my favorite ones with Todd Howard was some developer inside where he was talking about tricks that they did to make Morrowind work on the original Xbox. Cesar and I talked about this. Did you hear this, Brant? With the the Xbox would run out of memory, and the best way to do that was to make the console restart itself, but you didn't know it was doing it to free up memory for Morrowind. That's wild, man.
Yeah, you just thought that load screen it just took a long time to load, but no, it was they'd have it because it could keep that image on the screen while it was doing a reboot.
Insane.
And it's crazy to think that they could do that, but
It's tricks
they
of the
did.
trade, man.
Baseball.
Yeah.
it's damn magic.
All right, so next up, there was a Series X and S pre-orders went open. I will have to call out Microsoft on this one. They saw the PS5 fiasco, and they said that this would be much better. It was, I would say, decidedly worse. Much worse. Across the board.
You were there at ground zero when you had no attachment in this, and you watched me and your brother just in shambled and trying to get. Russell still hasn't got shit. I at least got mine.
I just
It took me,
backed up.
what,
Friend of
an
the show,
hour?
Russell was unsuccessful, and he actually is in the All Access program. So the road should have been paved for him to easily upgrade his One X, and instead he doesn't have his next gen plans in place. So it seemed to. They went up in tiers, right? And then GameStop had their weird queue thing that they started at 11 o'clock. One site immediately was out. It was like Walmart was done in like 2 minutes, if you even got there.
Yeah. I know Microsoft's own site was not great.
Best Buy was broken, and Best Buy wasn't even live yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think Best Buy was the last to go. Amazon went before Best Buy.
It was just it was madness, and they've still left. Like, I've been doing some research after the fact. They've still left those all access people out in the cold. They don't have an update path yet. Brant, you didn't update your Bizarro background.
Yeah.
Are you looking at it?
No, I'm just since we're staying with
Okay,
Xbox.
you're carrying this one over. All right, I approve. Keep going with it.
Yeah.
Let's roll with it. Cesar, you were able to secure a Series X. Are you pleased?
I will be once I get in my hands, I guess.
Now? You have a dedicated Elder Scrolls machine?
It's going to be a dedicated backwards compatibility box.
We didn't put it in news, but you saw Digital Foundry get a hold of it and was messing around with a bunch of the backwards compatibility stuff. That's great. Shit's great work.
Several people.
Oh, yeah, that's
Several
right.
people.
4K 60 frames per second.
It wasn't just Digital Foundry. They sent it to a lot of people. They got to try out backwards compatibility, game resume. What else did they try? I think there was like one other thing the embargo opened up on.
I think it was some UI stuff. I think.
Yeah.
They didn't go into much details about
how snappy it was to cold boot and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know they recommended doing all the installs from an external to the internal one, because you can still use the external for the backwards compatible games from an external hard drive, but you don't get the speed increase if you don't do it.
Can you copy them over? Like, if you plug them in, can you just copy them over to your current drive? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people showcased moving certain games back and forth, and depending on what drive you're using, if you're using your kind of standard mechanical drive, it can take maybe upwards of 9, maybe 10 minutes or so. But if you're using something like a solid state in 3.0, it takes maybe 2 minutes to transfer a game. I think they showcased moving something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It just took a couple minutes from hard drive to internal memory on the system.
I usually use I've got a 3 terabyte external, I think. But I think all I keep on the internals like Master Chief Collection and stuff I'm gonna play pretty consistently. It seems to run better. I keep all the backwards compatible stuff on the external. Okay, I panicked for a minute. We're good. Sorry. It's not the perfect time to panic.
Yeah, outside that, they were able to confirm all that, and it works on the backwards compatible games, and their old saves work on there too and everything. Unlike I guess we'll run into that issue with PS5. So with the save and incompatibility in some
PS5
games.
stuff that's not in the news, is it? Do you want to cover that real quick? Like Spider-Man, some listeners might benefit from the clarification.
Oh, they didn't say. Yeah, they didn't say why, but some of the PS5 games are not going to be backwards compatible with their saves when they carry over from the upgrade process. I think the only ones that's confirmed that is Avengers, because it's a cross-save title. But I think the reason why that's happening is because I think they have a separate trophy list for the PlayStation 5 games. And that's like a protection on there that they don't mess around with the
Nintendo thing
they used to get around. Yeah, they used to get around it with the PS4 and the Vita, because they combine those trophy lists together so they can consider those saves the same. But they haven't confirmed, but I think that's why that's happening, is because I think they're treating those games as a separate trophy list, and that's all because their system they archaically added trophies after the fact. After Xbox did achievements, they kind of did that after the fact as a upgrade in PS3. So I don't think they ever improved that model, or they might have improved it now. It's just not compatible with the old way. So.
Oh, you remember when people on PS3 were clamoring for trophies?
That's my personal thought. So.
Mm-hmm. Also, to add on, since we're on the subject of pre-orders, it seems that several retailers are notifying people about they may not be receiving their PS5s on launch.
Oh, I got that twice. I got that from my PlayStation and my Xbox.
You get them from the same place, right? Okay, so.
Yeah, but I think that's Amazon covering their ass, though.
Yeah.
But I got one from Walmart too.
I saw the people on Twitter were so angry about the potential cover your CYE email that they got. They're like, Jeff Bezos, you bitch, you already got my money. Send my Xbox. It's just this. hilarity. We comment on the internet hilarity.
Yeah, I think it's just them covering their ass because I think somebody just popped out on Twitter that GameStop's sending people that they may not get their PS5s until next year.
I
So,
knew GameStop was going to overbook.
that's
GameStop
starting
would
to pop
rather
out
have
there.
them on hand and
Yeah.
get your money in before knowing quantities.
So we'll see. I think it's like somebody said on Twitter. It's just Amazon covering their ass. It's like I mean they said majority of people probably get on that day, but then I mean look how long it took you to get your Mario All Stars
Today.
from Best
It
Buy.
came in
So
today.
it could be one of those situations. Almost
Like,
2
how
weeks
is
later.
this a thing?
Yeah. But we are
Yep.
through a pandemic, so and they're about to do their bullshit Amazon sell thing next month. So October
Target's
13th
doing
to
something the
14th.
same 2 days, I think I saw.
Oh yeah, as soon as Amazon announced it, Target's like, yeah, we're doing ours those days too. Well, Walmart's going to do the same thing too.
Has anybody, speaking of Walmart, and since we're on this retailer kick at the moment, has anybody tried the Walmart Plus or whatever their program's called? Brant, do you get a lot? I know you loaded up on games not too long ago from Walmart, but that doesn't really benefit. You know, it's kind of like a brick and mortar, your mileage may vary special that you got a hold of.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. Like even again this past week, I just walked by and looked again, and found Skate 3 was another title that they had, and all of these. I mean, they're updated boxes to be the
I like
Xbox
those. Yeah.
One boxes, but it just says at the top Xbox One, Xbox 360 at the top, and then it has the banner on top of the actual art for the game that says this game works on 360 and Xbox
How much was
One.
Skate 3?
$12,
I think that was
$12.98
out
or
of
something
print
like
for a little
that.
while and hard to
I
find.
mean, yeah, there. If you wind up going by, it's worth it just to look. I mean, they've got several games, 19 to $12, some decent titles that if you don't have, are definitely worth
Yeah, that's not bad.
worth picking up. But I mean, that's usually it. If I'm in Walmart, I'll look. There's been one case where I found a very specific N64 controller from a third party, and I wanted to have the same brand because I knew it worked, and everywhere online had it for 25 or $30 when they usually retail for about 15, $16. And I was actually able to find it on Walmart.com through somebody, because sometimes they use third parties, and it was like
What brand is that if you don't mind
$13. So
sharing? Because 64 controllers can be kind of a hit and a miss type deal.
at the moment, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was. I'm gonna have to look back.
I've
at the
gotten
ones
that.
I have.
Well, Cesar and I infamously kickstarted that Retro Fighter, was one that we had to fix ourselves. And then I got one of the Hyperkin, the one that looks like the Hori ones. And Cesar, who makes that brand that you have on the way? Was that a Hyperkin also?
Yeah.
Bluetooth.
The Admiral.
Yeah, I've wanted one of those.
We got to
See
hear
how they
from Cesar
look.
how it plays on Mario 64 because I think that's its main purpose, isn't it?
I haven't found anybody that said that they tried it, but I mean, I've read on there's a video game store in Pensacola I follow, and they claim it works. They were like selling it, they were pairing it with their copies.
You'll need
of it.
this. That's a good add-on.
So, yeah, basically.
Because they probably get a good markup on accessories if the game is like we used to know the game as. All right, I did not pay attention to this. I can't remember what I was doing, but who wants to cover the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase from September 18th? This is a little old. Yay!
Well done, Brant.
You're out of Bizarre
You're out of
World,
Bizarre
it
World.
works.
You're regular Brant.
Oh, did
Yes.
it actually do it?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So I can go over this quickly, even though Brant is perfect for this segment.
Brant wants to bring the news
direct
direct to you.
Yeah, this mini direct, I think I actually saw it. I can't remember if I saw it or not. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So they started the show with Monster Hunter Rise. There were some rumors going around that they were going to get a dedicated Monster Hunter game on the Switch. This seems to be more along the lines of more from like the Wii U line versus what they went on more the westernized version of
So
Monster
kind of
Hunter, in my opinion.
the old school
I
like
can't really speak
PSP,
on.
DS, like the million system seller style.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I can't really comment on the new Monster Hunter because I haven't played that much time in it, so I don't really have an opinion on it. Maybe Brant may have one. You played it much of the Monster Hunter, the current one?
No, I'm actually not much of a
hate 'em.
Monster Hunter
Me
player.
and Cesar tried them
My
one time.
Me, we tried and we were cooking at a bonfire and we played online and we're like, what the fuck happens? And we quit after what?
Yeah, it's grindy. It's a lot to do. It's a lot, but these that they showed look very nice.
I mean, it straight looks like the dog from Tales of Vesperia.
I saw that too.
Somebody had mentioned that. Repeat. But outside of that, they're going to go. I think they went over some detail in Tokyo Game Show, but not too much. I mean, it comes out, I think, March of next year. The only one I'm really fucking excited about was Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. Because originally when they were showing it, I thought they were showing me fucking Breath of Fire. I was like, oh man, we're back on Breath of Fire. It was looking that. And then they threw that shit up there. I was like, I might be okay with this. Because I thought it was like the whole Ryu and the Nina thing. And I was like, oh, and there's some dragons. They fucking did Breath of Fire. But no. It was Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. And that comes out later that summer. And they did say that it's supposed to be able to link up somehow with Monster Hunter Rise. They didn't go into details. They said they would go into more details about it later.
I thought it was Monster Hunter.
But not only we're getting one Monster Hunter game, two. So outside of that, this article is fucking out of order. But I'm going to go ahead and do it in the order I feel
Nintendo
like it.
Life.
Yep. Well done, Nintendo Life. Who's this guy? Ryan Craddock. Well done, Ryan. I'm going to skip over the next one because that's what they ended it on. They did go over Boxing 2 Rhythm Exercise. The first one was a really popular title, especially with the pandemic going on, because it has a calorie counter and it does a lot of cardio. This one seems to be more of a boxing focus on this one. This one's being published in the U.S. by Nintendo. I think it's like a Destineer or something like that. It's the developer. Then they went on to show Disgaea 6, Defiance of Destiny. This one's a little bit weird because this one is exclusive to the Switch in America and Europe, but in Japan they're still getting a PS4 version. So they didn't comment if they would eventually come to PS4 on the other regions or not. They just said they couldn't comment on it when they were pressed about it. So it seems like most of these are
that you know of.
based,
have these Disgaea ports been selling like crazy on Switch? Has it gotten a new audience or?
Somebody made a comment. You know, there's always misinformation going around. Somebody on Twitter said like the reason why this happens is because the fifth one outsold the PS4 one on in America because they've been bombing in Japan. But apparently somebody clarified it was more almost 50-50. It wasn't like an overwhelming seller. I think it was almost about even. But it looks like Nintendo played for the localization for this one. That's why it's Nintendo exclusive. But knowing them, they always come out with a complete version later on with all the
3
DLC
generations
they add on there.
road.
So I imagine some. That's what everybody's like. They'll wait for the PlayStation version of that, or you can just import the PS4 one and just learn
the
Japanese.
easier route. Because can't you play the first Disgaea on Switch, and that was a PS2 game? So they just
Yeah, you can play. I mean, you can do Disgaea 1. I think they did 4, 5, and maybe 3. I can't remember on PS4 and Switch. They went back and re-released them. But these games have been bombing in Japan. They haven't been selling as well. So I think they've been making up their sales in America and Europe.
That's what I was wondering about. Like, are we the niche audience for that now? For Disgaea?
Yeah, we've been buying more. They were like Nipponichi's software in Japan was hurting for a while because a lot of their games are just not selling over there. They've been actually making up the sales over here. I think somebody made a comment. I don't remember who was a developer saying that they have to sell at least 100,000 copies of a game in Japan to break even. And like some of these were only selling like 50,000 or 15,000 when it launched.
A lot of software. When you look at software sales and was it Famitsu that tracks them or Weekly Media or whoever it is, 100,000 is a shit ton, man. Unless you're like Pokemon or something crazy.
That's usually like lifetime after 2 years.
Yep.
It takes you forever to get there too for that region, unless you're a Nintendo Switch game.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So and then they went on and said that Hades was coming out. I think this was this announced before? I don't know. I'm getting it on my.
They announced that Hades was coming to Switch.
That was on their indie show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they just like Brent was going to say is like I think they just said it's out.
I love those.
Day.
I love those announcements.
It's just not the
download
PC
now
backwards compatibility. Then we had Empire of the Sun, which is that game from Romero Games. We finally got a date, December 1st. Then he announced that Sniper Elite 4 was launched on Nintendo Switch this holiday season. Do what you
I
must
tried
about
playing
that.
one of those. I was like, man, I love
Um,
sniping. I can do this. It is so hardcore. It is tough. They're not arcadey. It's not Halo sniping and messing around. It's legit.
No.
I don't remember this part. I guess they went over PGA Tour 2K21.
Yeah.
Maybe I went to the bathroom.
Some good form right
I
there
don't
in
know.
that story.
Then they went into the Long Dark. I think this was also on other consoles that is coming over to Switch finally. Then we had another look at
Oh my
Balan
God.
Wonderland, which looks great. I still love
Wh-
Sonic mixed with Knights. It's like a fucking
What
Yuji
is it
Naki
about this
game all
game?
over.
Every
It's like
time I see it, I'm just like, what the hell? I love it. Everything about it.
it's it's like it's like if Sega was still a console maker, this probably would have been his next game he would have made. I guess Square was like, make whatever you want, and we'll publish
That's what
it.
it
That
is.
seems like what they're doing
Yep.
because it's weird and
Like
wacky.
a
It looks like
4K
fucking
Dreamcast
game.
Saturn game. Like, just fuck it.
Yeah, it's like something that would come in that generation where Sega would do
God, I
some
miss that
wacky ass
Sega.
shit like that.
God, that was a great Sega. We took it for granted.
See, man. All right. Outside of that, Rune Factory 5, they gave an update on that. I think that's launched in 2021. And that was something they announced a long time ago before development. So we finally got a look at how it looks. Rune Factory is something that usually was always on the 3DS. So
I seem to
this is
remember
making
selling
its way
some
over
for
now
like
to
GBA
the next
and
gen.
DS maybe back in the day.
It's mostly, I think it's DS, yeah. Because I think that's when the creator of Story Seasons, aka Harvest Moon in the United States, was like, he was bored of doing the same thing over, and he's like, I'm gonna do Rune Factory, which is like an RPG mixed with the farming aspects mixed with dating. There's like a lot of other stuff on there because you also do dungeon crawling too. It does like a lot of random stuff. Because I mean, you still do your farming and gathering, but they also incorporate dungeon crawling in there as well. And I think the relationships like marriage and all that is a big part of it too, even more so. They ended up that show with a surprise, and that came out that day was Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which is the new Ori game. They announced that Fangamer was doing a collector's edition where you can buy, I think it's like $180, where you can buy a bunch of shit and get the first few physical.
Sold out like immediately.
Yeah, outside of that, I think somebody had told people to wait because I think they are going to release the games individually later on. They said so. So I didn't jump on the $180 version of that bullshit. So, I mean, they asked me to do that, and I just spent like $500 on a PS5 and then $500 on an Xbox Series X. I'm like, do you want to spend another $180? They can get out of here with that shit.
Ori collection.
On 2 games, yeah. But nah. I love me some Ori, but I'm not.
Yeah, I was
paying
kind of
$180
disappointed in Ori. Did you play either one of those, Brant? Are they up your alley?
They are. I just haven't gotten around to play them.
Like all games. And Days Gone.
Get back to Days Gone. My
Gone.
first PS5 game.
Always on Days Gone. You could. It's on that whatever that
The
bullshit
PlayStation
download
Plus
thing they got
collection.
going on. Yeah. I don't even know the name. I just call it bullshit download thing. So.
All right, there's a Tokyo Game Show recap. Does somebody want to go with that? I didn't watch much of it.
Is it the Brent show?
I'll go with it.
Holy shit! Did you watch it? It's a Brent show right now.
I'll let Cesar go. I'll go after Cesar. The Brent show. The only part of Tokyo Game Show that I really watched, and Cesar and I watched this together while we were on vacation, was the crazy Nier presentation. Did you watch any of that, Brant?
No, I didn't get. No, I watched
When
some
they were
of the
all
Nier.
in like cubicles together with the
I watched-
dividers and all that. It was hilarious. That was like one of the most well produced.
Dude had the little puppet.
Yoko Taro was out there to start with, and then he left his body, but his head was there.
Yeah.
And then every time he spoke, someone else had the Yoko Taro puppet. It just, man, it was so funny the whole time. And they're making jokes at the composer, and he's like, I don't know, I wrote that part, but I didn't have music for it, so I didn't know what to do, so I just recycled some music. And it was so well produced and so funny. Cesar and I were cracking up the entire time. They announced like a special edition, like a white Queen edition or something like that. and a black
Yeah,
box
something
edition,
like
and
that.
those are coming out on the Square Enix store.
Well, the black box one was from the Near Automata, which they said is like
Hard to
ridiculously
find, and they made
hard to
jokes
find because
about
they're
it.
telling resellers are bad. They're like, don't
Don't
resell.
resell.
Yeah, they're like, don't resell stuff. They were like, resellers are bad or something like that.
And
right?
then they're
Resellers
laughing,
bad.
like they're just candidly
That's what they
like
said.
laughing at each other and stuff, and it was subtitled. It was so good.
Yeah, because they like what was it, the game director was bringing them stuff, and he's like, yeah, he's a crew member. He's like, he's
There's
not actually
Ito.
a crew member. He's a game director.
Ito,
They started
Ito,
sitting
you're
down
part
and
of our
started going,
crew. Bring us the
Ito.
prop. Show it to us. He's like
Ito's
the
not the
game
crew.
director. Then he sits down for the next segment. It was so good. Oh, the humor was incredible. I was like, I will support. I'm gonna get this Near Replicant. It was not really on my radar because I still haven't played Automata, but I was like, you know what? They've got it. This crew has got my interest. They got my support now.
They're funny guys, man.
Well,
So this is all out of order. So I'll just go in the order that it's on here that Adam Bankhurst decided it needed to be in, off of his IGN article here. So we got a little bit more of a look at Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, which still looks great. But the thing I didn't really expect is they sat down and played the game. So we got to see the in-game mechanics, how it plays. Of course, it's just a Dynasty Warrior game, but it looks like it is going to definitely lean heavy into the Zelda lore and the just the story of the calamity that's going on. So it does look like it's gonna be great. They've already got my money on that. We just talked Near Replicant. They did show Monster Hunter Rise. Let's see, Dynasty Warriors 9 Empire announced, and that will be 2021, coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox
those are
One,
the strategy
PC.
ones, right? Because I think most people did not like Dynasty Warriors 9.
Nah. And then let's see, we got a little bit more of Balan Wonder World. They showed off
That night's goodness.
That game looks awesome, man.
Give me those juicy games.
Cyberpunk 2077, and gosh, it looks smooth. But take a second here. Did you guys hear that they're talking about even though they said they weren't going to do crunch, they're going to have to do crunch.
Hold on. Their words were paid crunch, which is okay.
Yeah, I was about to say they did emphasize that everyone is being well compensated.
It's not. I'm laughing because somebody had actually fucking floated that idea out and thought it was okay to put that out there. I mean, at least they're honest, but okay, crunch quotations because they're getting paid.
80, 90 hours a week in a studio away from families. That ain't a good lifestyle, paid or unpaid.
That's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, it's dumb to me. But that's my opinion. Some other people are up in arms defending them, and I'm like, whatever floats y'all's boat.
What's the fear here since we kind of veered off into this? Have they made too many delays that they feel like? Like, I know this game's going to be amazing. I know the pedigree of the studio. Why are we not just giving them the leeway of launch whenever you want?
I don't know. It may be that fear of, well, we've delayed it this many times already. We have to get it out. But even though it's mandatory crunch and it's everybody's being well compensated, it's
tough,
it's still a term that nobody likes to use in the industry, and nobody likes to hear in the industry. So I don't know. Hopefully we don't get any just crazy horror stories out of that.
Take your time. Next gen consoles will be out. That'll be the buzz. You don't have to hit that because you don't have your specific version yet. Just say, hey, March 2021, and we'll have day and date PS5, Series X, Switch. That'll give that studio time to do the Switch version like they did The Witcher. Whoever it was that did God's work on Witcher.
Yeah. I think the whole problem is they just announced that game's release date too early, and so instead of just taking the hit again, and everybody just bitched about it because people were bitching about it months ago before they were announcing the crunch because they were like they're gonna delay it again.
So there's two methods because they're making the old mistakes that I feel like mistakes. I don't care. A game comes out, don't kill your people putting it out, and don't put out a shitty game. If you have to wait, you have to wait. But we remember, there's two sides of the spectrum right now. Sony doesn't put release dates on hardly any of their stuff until they're confident of something because they got burned in the ass, right? And that.
Oh yeah, that whole what was like you said that E3 of greatness.
Now Nintendo's not even telling us like they don't even tell us there's a Paper Mario in development. They're just like, hey, there's a Paper Mario game coming out in 2 months, or did y'all like Hyrule Warriors? Hey, there's gonna be a new one in 3 months with the same graphics from Breath of the Wild. So there's like two ends of that spectrum now, as far as getting that messaging out there. So maybe, they haven't launched a game since Witcher came out. What 2014? I think spring 2014 maybe. And so they haven't had a game launch in quite some time. I know that they did the DLC on that title, but I don't know. Crunch is never good. There's no good spin on it. I don't think there's no level of compensation that can, that takes a toll on your health, relationships, mental health, physical health, all that stuff. Did we get that off the Tokyo Game Show story?
No, he brought it up because
I brought it up because
they did that show, and then he's literally that article came out like today.
Bizarro Brand's back. We're trying to stay on track, and here he goes, veering us off.
Yeah.
So next up, good bit from Capcom here. They showed a little bit more of Resident Evil Village, and did talk about how they are specifically targeting next-gen consoles and PC for this release, and that they're looking into delivering the experience on Xbox One and PS4. They did confirm that it will feature more exploration than Resident Evil 7, and they want the players to experiment to figure out what works for them.
So a little more open-ended.
And yeah. They announced Virgil is coming to Devil May Cry 5, PS4 and Xbox One via DLC. He was already a confirmed playable character for the special edition that's going to be on the next-gen consoles. And then they announced that they are working with Netflix to bring forth this Resident Evil Infinite Darkness series. It's going to be an animated series on Netflix that I guess is going to have some kind of dual storyline from a different article I saw, and that's going to be sometime in 2021 that we'll get this Resident Evil animated series on Netflix, which should be pretty interesting.
I have full faith in them after that Witcher adaptation. Witcher was good as hell.
I mean, even then, if this is based off the CG movies,
I hear they're better than live action, right?
Yeah.
They're very, very good, and they tie in with the games directly. So supposedly somebody had said that this Infinite Darkness is supposed to have some events that kind of leads to Resident Evil 8. Like some of the stuff that's happening in the background. So somebody, through the master of looking at whatever the fuck is happening in that trailer, was able to say it was some point between 6 and 8 because the outbreak's already occurred in the White House, apparently, that happened in Resident Evil 6. So they said it has to take place after 6, and Capcom went and said that some of the events that you'll see in 8 starts in this series. That's why the series is coming around at the same time. So, and I think somebody had said, whoever insider said it's supposed to be like a 6 or 8 episode series, so it's not going to be a movie like they normally are. It's actually like an actual true.
I just keep laughing at Infinite Darkness. It's like some generic. Legend of Zelda, Infinite Darkness. Halo, Infinite Darkness. Star Trek, Infinite Darkness. Like you could subtitle anything.
It'll be one of those situations where they'll be like, in the infinite darkness of this, and then they'll like look at the screen, like they said the title. We get it now. Like, did you ever watch that thing for Evil Within 2? Like there's an Easter egg in there where if you have to go fucking out of your way, like you have to go back to the beginning of the game and talk to somebody. And there's a point where the main character's like, and he'll look at the camera, like the evil within too.
That's
It's like
great.
somebody was asking, like, is this shit real? And it's real. Apparently, some guy's like, yeah, you had to go through a bunch
That's
of
awesome.
bullshit, but it's real. I'll send y'all the link after this, but it was pretty funny. I was laughing at it, but somebody's like, yeah, it's actually there. You have to do a lot of bullshit
Evil
to get to it,
Within
but it's
2,
there.
Infinite Darkness.
Oh.
Silent Hill 6, Infinite Darkness. Sonic the Hedgehog 5, Infinite Darkness. Shadow
the Hedgehog.
The
More infinite, more
Hedgehog
dark.
of Darkness. So let's see. I'll try to rapid fire a little bit here. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories getting a
Switch? Remind me,
demo,
Kingdom
playable
Hearts
demo.
people?
No, it's
Everything.
I think it's coming to everything. Yeah.
Who knows anymore?
Vita.
They said Scarlet Nexus is going to use RPG elements alongside action elements. Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne HD remastered, new Merciful Mode explained.
Okay,
see.
come on now. How come Nocturne isn't Infinite Darkness? That should be its subtitle.
Shin Megami Tensei Darkness HD, Infinite Darkness HD remastered. There we go.
They really fucked up with Nier when they could call it reincarnation.
Yeah,
it was right there, people.
And they said Nier Reincarnation gets Western release.
We won't talk about the Ni no Kuni.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah,
bring it up.
It's a mobile game. Nope.
Yep, Dynasty Warriors Mobile. Nope.
Yep.
That Nier mobile game looked good though. It looked like a turn-based RPG.
So here's something I didn't really notice. I went down a good bit here. Xbox Series S price already reduced in Japan. Apparently, they've dropped it about $28 USD in Japan over the other release, which is interesting.
I think that's just a drop because of the price from dollar to yen changed. I think that's all it is.
Probably.
That's all it is. Yeah. Because people were making a big deal about it, and I think that's all they came in. Somebody came and clarified that's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's what is it, exchange rate? Because I guess the value of the dollar and the yen is always fluctuating, so they ended up dropping to $28.
They showed off Flight Simulator is adding the Japanese a bunch of Japanese oh my gosh areas
and specific locations.
Yeah, historical places, certain
Mount
towns,
Fuji.
Mount Fuji, which everything looks beautiful. Flight Simulator, the new Flight Simulator 2020 is
it looks awesome.
a beautiful,
Do you have anything
beautiful
that
game.
can run it, Brant? I'm thinking about trying
Probably
it on
not.
this thing, but my hard drive's too small. It's like, and Halo sits on it, so I have to like wipe out all the Halo install that's on here. While we're talking about Flight Simulator, did y'all see that hole that somebody found? It's just like the map just falls into this deep cavern. It's just like a black hole landmass.
As it should.
All right, is that it from Tokyo Game Show? Is that the big announcements?
Yeah, I think pretty much that's the big
We didn't
big
get any new hardware. Nothing. It was a digital Tokyo Game Show. They had a really cool. Brant, you saw like the intro anime looking characters and the music and stuff like that. That was a Tokyo Game Show live day one. Like we kept seeing that cool anime intro. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Day one premiere.
In Japanese, the Xbox. I did watch a good bit of the Xbox presentation. Japanese Minecraft looked pretty interesting. I wish they could give us the different versions of Minecraft. The different localized versions. I would like that.
What else came
but
out
I doubt
of that?
it'll happen.
Cesar, we watched it. Yeah,
we sat there
we watched Phil
that
Spencer because nothing had subtitles until Phil Spencer got up there. I was like, yes.
I mean,
most of it was sizzle reel, and then they ended it with like Scarlet Nexus and that oral cigarettes music video.
I thought there was one big announcement we were talking about.
No, because I mean they went into Ballin. Everything's because we made that comment. Everything's what we've already
Samurai
seen. Samurai
Showdown. That's the one that surprised us.
Oh, with the next, Samurai Spirits is what I call it.
Spirits.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Was that was the big thing. It was a good show though. It was a well-produced
that
Xbox
was
show.
Yeah.
All right, is that it from Tokyo Game Show? You can
Yes,
now
sir.
play.
Oh no, the other things. Remember, they got xCloud coming out early next year. I think they said,
Mhm.
which was big for them because most of everybody
We'll
in
have to
Japan
see
are
how
on
that
mobile
takes off for
devices.
them. It seems like the perfect platform, but it's got to be the content on there that they want too, right?
Yeah.
8 Konami classics have been updated for modern PCs. This comes from Polygon. You can play a bunch of Metal Gear and Castlevania games on PC now via GOG. There's 3 Metal Gears. Metal Gear, the original, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. And you can also get the Konami Collector Series Castlevania and Contra, which bundles 5 games from the franchise's 8-bit origins. Castlevania, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, plus Contra and its sequel Super C. What's funny? What are we laughing at?
Cesar's just
There's better collections
They
out
chopped
there of
up.
all more
We have them
games.
on like PC and Switch and Xbox and PlayStation and everything else. It's like $5 gets you 8 in each one of these franchises, and they just like they shit out this one collection.
And then you can pay like $3.99 to get like a complete almost Castlevania one and a Contra one. That's some bullshit.
And you get like Kid Dracula and like the unreleased stuff. You can get that on every platform, but GOG got this weird bastard bundle.
Yeah, we can't complain. I guess preservation or whatever. Remember, those are old release versions.
It's not
on
for
like
us. Somebody out
disc,
there only
right?
has a GOG box, and they're just cheering from the rafters that they finally have access to Contra / Castlevania.
Until Microsoft buys them, and then they'll just be on their
That's the screen
Microsoft
specifically we were looking at. I was like, oh my god, why do you have Contra
store.
like just lumped in there with that Castlevania stuff? Go ahead and give them the whole damn collection.
I don't know. I don't know who
Has
that's
anybody
for, but
talked-
whatever.
Has anybody talked about how these Metal Gear games run? Has anybody seen?
Well, I remember I told you I had Metal Gear 2 on PC.
That
and it
was
was
20
shit,
years
so.
ago.
Apparently
I
it's
don't know.
the same bad
Okay.
versions.
So Brand's heard.
It's not great. They don't run great. It's what I've
I told Richard, I was like, this is before Steam and all that shit. And I had to go onto the Metal Gear website and download patches when
Wild
shit was
times,
broken.
man. The Wild West.
I had a fucking brand new spanking new Nvidia card that couldn't run that shit. And it was like, it was so fucking old. The game was so old that it wouldn't run on a
it
new
was
card.
the reverse.
It
I
was
was like,
horrible.
how the hell did that not run it?
Yeah. It was garbage.
So you didn't get very far. You didn't beat the Tinker mission.
Nope, but that completed my collection of me owning every copy of Metal Gear Solid 2 on everything ever made, apparently. I got a
get the
box
GOG
version
one?
of it somewhere on PC.
No.
No, I have a physical version on one DVD.
All right. Galgun is coming to Xbox One, Switch, and PC. What the hell is Galgun?
Go ahead, Brant, explain it to us. I'm aware of Galgun. I own all versions of Galgun, but Brant threw the story in there, so I'm going to let him have it.
I see panties already, so I
So-
don't even know what's happening.
That's
yeah.
the whole point of Galgun.
So apparently
Oh,
I've never
God.
played this
Disclaimer.
game, but I've seen
Lies.
it. And
Fucking lie.
I've seen it referenced so much specifically in an anime that I really enjoyed that Cesar recommended called No Game
Oh.
No Life.
There was a
like,
bit in there with
The
that.
whole
in there.
the last 2 episodes basically are like riffing on this game, and it was hilarious.
with the love
but-
gun. Yeah.
It is a game where you
Not
are
the
a
Kiss
character.
song.
Wait, why is that the second Kiss reference?
and-
Brent, he wasn't even
He
here.
wasn't
he doesn't
even
even
here.
know.
He wasn't
He
even
doesn't
here
even
for
know
the
we were
first.
talking about Kiss songs. How does this happen?
So you're a character that has a special gun,
They took your dog.
and
They
you're
took your gun dog.
they took my dog. So in Galgun, you have a special gun, and you're being swarmed by
Panties.
very aggressive females, and you have to shoot the females wherever you want, and depending on where you shoot them, you
This
get
is what Joe
different
Lieberman
points.
was trying to
and-
warn us against, and Tipper Gore. We could have avoided
Yeah.
all this.
So sometimes there may be some female underwear shown and things like that. So it's a very risque game. But the biggest thing was that they are re-releasing this as Inti Creates announced Galgun returns, and they announced for Xbox One, Switch, and PC. No announcement for PS4, and a lot of people have theorized it's because they are so strict on some of their censorship.
Here we go.
So, but the original one, I believe it says the franchise turns 10 years.
All right, so
What was it?
let me help you out, Brent. So what's funny is this game originally came out in 360 in Japan. This is one of their games on the 360 in Japan that they were like, okay, we're going to pull in the Japanese players. It was unaltered. It came out in that version. What was funny is it never made it to America because Microsoft deemed it too appropriate. They wanted to censor the game, and they were like, all right, we won't release it over here. So we flipped the script completely, where it's released on every other console but the PlayStation console. There's no official saying on the reason why, but everybody's assuming it's because of the censorship put in place by Sony, that the developers at this point are tired of making changes to their games, and they're like, well, fine, we'll just release it on the platforms that let us release it without having to go through and basically make two games. Or that game is basically a fan service game. If you take out a lot of that stuff, that defeats the whole purpose of the game. That's what the game is sold as.
We talk a lot about the Sony censorship thing. Cesar, do you remember where that started, where that kicked off with the whole... Like, is there a background behind it? Was there a new ratings board? Like, did something take over to...
It's all in part of the Me Too movement. So they felt that they were going to take a look at their games and not over sexualize. It's weird because like if you play, I don't know how they do it. I guess I don't know. They're saying it's not over sexualizing some of the women characters in there, but then again, you have full on sex scenes in The Last of Us 2.
Yeah,
where some dude's hitting a girl from behind and you get like the whole scene. So I don't know where they stand on there. I don't know if it's because a lot of the characters on there seem underage because they're more animated. And they're like, okay, that's what we cross the line.
Okay, so that's the aggravation is not so much the censorship, it's the lack of like direct. We don't know what the standard is, basically.
That's the argument because I think they went to somebody and they have two people in Sony, or they have a group of people in Sony that does go through games and they deem what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. But there's no guidelines. They don't have any guidelines. They have to play the games and review them, and they decide it on a game by game basis. So they don't have like a strict guidelines. You can't do this, do that, da 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 da. They get the free range and choose what they want and deem what is appropriate and what's not appropriate. So, which is fine. I mean, that's the platform where they have the rights to do that. That's not a problem. I think the problem is that a lot of that they sprung at the last minute, and there's already games in development, and so they force a lot of developers to go back and bastardize their games or remove modes in there. And I think we didn't get Mary Skelter 2 over here on PS4 because they had to go and remove a whole touching mode or something like that, where you can touch characters through the touchpad. They had to remove it in the Chinese one, and it broke the game because they went back and updated to remove that mode. So we never got it here. They ended up just releasing it on the Switch. So I think a lot of people because Sony was before very hands-on. They were the most lenient when it came to those type of games. So you had a lot of people who were on that Sony camp that bought those type of niche games.
We're old folks because we remember those days
when
they would let things fly that we couldn't get on Sega consoles or Nintendo. Nintendo wouldn't allow that kind of thing.
That would seem like to be the forefronts of like, hey, we let the developers make the games they want, and we let the ratings board decide if that's presentable or not. For whatever reason, they decided that they're going to add this extra layer that's outside of the ratings board, while the other console makers they're like, I mean, Phil already came out and said he wasn't going to censor any of his games. I think somebody had asked him that once before. He said that's what the rating boards are for. So if it goes out with an M, it'll go through. They'll have to, if it goes out NC-17, they may have to take something out. That's his example. I mean, the rating boards decide, and I guess he put the money where the mouth is. The developers they're big in trying to get in Japan, so they're putting it on Xbox. It originally was a 360 game anyway, so I just think it's funny because the whole reason it wasn't released in America because it was they wanted to censor the game, and now it's the opposite. So
yeah,
it came out. They ended up coming out for PS3 or something like that because they didn't censor the game. So it's funny, but I think the frustrating part is nobody knows how Sony's
who's in there picking
stuff,
out what based on what criteria. Yeah, I get it.
There's no guidelines, and I don't think it's fair to the developers, and which is fine. I mean, you're going to push away those developers, and I think at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to vote with your wallet. That's a game that's not on the PlayStation console. you're going to start losing sales. So at the end of the day, I think Sony will probably end up rolling that stuff back at some point. But because I mean, I think this generation is going to this is going to be one of those weird ones where they're going to take a lot of stuff, get kicked down a lot. This one, because a lot of the stuff I see Microsoft is doing a lot of stuff right.
Wise.
That's Nintendo's doing a lot of stuff right. A lot of with their developers, they don't censor anymore. They let say, hey, put your games on there. We want your games. We want people to buy our console. We don't have that third party bullshit we used to have with Nintendo. So they're like, hey, do what you need to do, put it on there. Make it work. And Sony's kind of being more restrictive to the developers. So you're going to see a lot. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of developers like, all right, I think we're going to work with these consoles a little bit more because we may not run into your restrictions, but you're more restricted, and we don't want to deal with that
PS1
bullshit,
effect. But it's not a cartridge format. It's how bad will you make us change the game we've already got planned? We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, right now they're on top, but I think right now on the top, but I think they're going to take some hits this generation. I kind of want them to, because I want them to revisit a lot of their back catalog and be a little bit more consumer friendly and look more to like what Xbox is doing with their community, help their community grow and make PlayStation more of a community instead of them because they like Sony's kind of doing like that old Nintendo bullshit where they were like at Super Nintendo days and then 64 days where they're a little arrogant.
Cocky Sony is not good Sony. We all know that. We've all been through that.
No.
I need them to take some hits this generation. I think they will. I think they're going to struggle a little bit, and I think they're going to have to reset because I mean Sony only relies on PlayStation now. They don't have their other.
Hey, Mark Cerny's got a Vio computer.
PlayStation and Sony Pictures. And Sony Music. Those are and then Funimation. Those are their 4 pillars. That's all they got over there. I mean, at that point, they can't take that shit anymore. Like they don't have something to fall back on, like the phones and computers,
or Windows.
They don't have that stuff. Yeah, Walkmans. You can't walk down and get Sony Walkman anymore.
So Galgon Returns will boast new features, more characters, more improvements, variety of game modes, full voice acting. They just say they're going to add a whole bunch more stuff. The game will be available January 28th, 2021 on the before mentioned platforms, Xbox One and Steam, digitally, and Nintendo Switch gets a digital and physical version.
All right, next story. Tell us about that Xbox Series X expansion card.
Ooh.
Super fucking expensive. Next story. I mean, it's only 1 terabyte, and it's an additional like $220, and it plugs in the back, and it's what you need to play the Series S and X optimized games.
Yeah.
All you're doing is doubling your storage.
It's right now. It's only Seagate that they're partnered with to make these expandable storage. They haven't said one way or the other if there's going to be a third party, if they're going to party with other manufacturers to make these drives. Hopefully they will, because for somebody that goes out to buy a Series S and spends $300 and they only get a little over 500 gigs of storage, and then if they want a terabyte of expandable memory for $220, they might as well just be getting the Series X, because with you're already there pretty much, and you're getting the enhanced performance of the X. So
and y'all saw in those previews like the OS takes up like 200 gigs, I think it is. So you're going to eat up a bunch of that Series S storage just on the system side.
Yeah, and that article that I think Brandt's referencing is they go into detail later on where they say that, where Sony, they don't have a card function to do expansion. You have to replace the drive itself. The only plus side of that is that since it's a drive made by various manufacturers, but they still got to get rated to be optimized to work on the PS5, you're not subjected to proprietary pricing, because this is a proprietary
That's
thing.
why I referenced the Vita in my preamble. I was like, oh, nightmares all over again.
Now the only difference is that Microsoft's a major corporation, so I don't think the pricing on that is going to hold as much water as it did on the Vita. So I think it'll probably drop more quickly, but it probably won't drop as quickly as what is that? An NVM4, where the fuck they're using a reference for the PS5. Because
It's a P.
that stuff. Me and you work with computers. You know that stuff drops quickly. So, like the next year, be half the price.
Let's hope so, because right now I think it was Samsung. They have one that they just dropped a new what is it, the PCIe 4.0 MVE SSD, and I think it's around $240 something like that.
For how much?
220, and
1 terabyte.
It's 1 terabyte. They'll probably have more additional sizes for even more, and we don't even know because that just came out the end of last week. I think it was announced or released, and Sony haven't come out and given us any lists, any compatibility, because you can't go out and just buy any of these. They have to be certain ones. Certain drives need. They get very hot and they need heat sinks right on top. So we need to be able to know exactly which ones you can just buy and pop into the system and
that's
not have
when
any
Reddit
issues.
will do the Lord's work and tell us and point us in the right direction for.
Yes.
I don't think we'll have any heating issues with that fucking big ass PS5 coffin. So
I can hear it now.
It's got those wings.
That's just bigger than Xbox Series X. I think it's fucking
massive.
It's probably got a 120 fan in it. 120.
That's what I was just thinking about, that Twitter feed that you sent me with the guys unpacking the PS5.
There was a thing on Twitter, I sent it to Richard, where they were talking about how big the Xbox Series X compared to the PS5 is, and when they were showing in the SEC ratings, so they were showing these two movers taking a giant PS5 out of the truck, loading it in the hand truck, carrying it upstairs, and then placing it in an office so they could put an Xbox Series X on top of it as a desk.
Brand, it's ridiculous, man, because it's one of those four picture panes. So you're like living this story, and you see these two guys, and it's perfectly photoshopped. It looks like they're pulling it. They have a table that they're like, they unpack it, and then they carry it up the stairs, and then they meticulously set it up, and then you see like this Bravia TV and Series X and a controller and all that. It's so ridiculous, man.
They're using the PS5 as a desk for their Series X.
It's an entertainment center. Oh shit, we have to find that again. It's good.
It was. I think somebody sent it to Tom Warren, because Tom Warren was talking about how big the PS5 was. It's all based off those FCC photos. It's the biggest console ever made. So
I love it. All right, Series X expansion card, $219.99, proprietary, 1 terabyte, but you can still use your old USB 3.1 disk drives for backwards compatible games and Xbox One games.
Yeah, and I think in this article from Polygon, they make it a point that this adapter from Owen Good is it's super crucial for the S series, since there's only a 512 hard drive in there.
All right, there's an Animal Crossing article, but I don't know who's going to discuss that one.
It's a perfect time.
Are you still playing, Brand? Are you still playing Animal Crossing?
I had actually quit for about a month because every villager had to come up to me and tell me that today. Because I went ahead.
I went ahead on that thing since May. So do I have any villages left? I'm sure they probably.
What happens to them? Do they like revolt against each other?
I think somebody said they just usually go back on the island. Everybody's like, and they just leave. Like there's nobody left on the fucking island.
I had one of them actually scream at me. Like, what? Why did you leave? Where did you go?
I got a light.
You think you can just come back up to me after just disappearing? They're like, yeah, you can. It's fine.
Whatever. I ignored his ass when I was.
I still only have 2. So. That's where I left off. If y'all remember, I got all these bullshit things I had to build these fuckers. I don't even know who's moving in. No, I still have the same Rhino and Penguin or whoever it was that I had to start with.
Sound like fucking Spider-Man and Batman villains.
Maybe that's why.
You sure you're not playing a comic book game?
You playing Batman Returns for Sega CD?
But yes, there is a Animal Crossing update. I'll go through this real quick. Update released today, so you can go on, download your update. The event actually doesn't start until next month, which will be tomorrow, October 1st. is when all the new items become available. You have things like different pigments, or I say different pigments for your skin, but they I think they even call it paint, body paint. So you can change to like white, green, gray.
This is the
Uh,
Halloween stuff, right?
yeah, so it's
Yeah, I know a
all
good bit
Halloween
about the body
themed.
paint stuff. I've watched
Uh,
some of that on Twitch, so
you will
I've watched
be
that on
able
other
to.
things
it's
as
the
well.
same as on Twitch. They get by with it somehow.
Oh no,
I'm going like, okay, this is happening.
that's it. We're doing a stream of body paint.
Absolutely not.
So sorry, you go first.
I'll be like a fucking Mr. Manhattan from The Watchmen. That's all I remember from that movie. I'm like, God,
And
somebody
when
put
you
some
did
pants
that,
on
when
this
you
thing.
did that, it blurred out your arm. We can see your arm flapping
That
around.
works. That works. That shit. That's the way it should work.
Brent, friend of the show, Charles said we should do a body
Oh,
off on Ring Fit Adventure. Like we all stick with Ring Fit Adventure, and just
nice. That that was actually
Would that
one
be fair?
thing.
Because I do a lot of exercise outside of Ring Fit Adventure.
topless Ring Fit Adventure.
I logged in to find that Nintendo had sent me a an item in Animal Crossing. Open it up, and it was the
Oh,
Ring-Con. So the Ring-Con they have as a placeable item in your home or outside your home. The Ring-Con, just decoration. You will be able to buy pumpkins from either the in-game shop, Timmy and Tommy's, or from the character
I
Leaf.
see pumpkin
fuck
farming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Can I farm a pumpkin? I have to buy shit from those
you
guys, right?
you have to buy the.
Grow your own.
You can buy them
seeds.
from Leaf, or you can buy them from Timmy and Tommy. They call them pumpkin starters.
Can I just like
And
go on your island and just rob
you
your pumpkins
mail us a
and I won't have
pumpkin?
to fucking buy this stuff?
if you're my best friend, yeah, maybe.
Mail me some shit, dude.
You might be able to. Yeah, you
He's
might
gonna
be.
mail
I
you
might
the
be able to
Riddler.
mail them.
You're gonna
There's
have the
certain
Riddler
things you
on your
can and
island.
can't.
I, I'm gonna bring all
So-
those pumpkin seeds right in that store. Like, look what I got that you didn't have to sell me. I'm bringing it all up and I'm
So-
dropping it in
Invasive
front of them and
species.
then picking it back up. I'm doing everything I can. Yeah.
Pumpkins grow in
Oh, I dropped these pumpkin
four
seeds.
different varieties: orange, yellow, white, and green. They're used to craft different items for the seasonal events. You can also buy a single candy a day from Timmy and Tommy, and save the candies up until the Halloween event, October 31st, starting at 5 p.m. when you get a special guest named Jack who will visit the island. Who he's apparently the czar of Halloween. And you can trade him candy for special in-game rewards. You can trade candy to your villagers as just a whole little friendly trick-or-treating event.
All right, I know we joke about
and
Animal Crossing, but your
that's pretty
family
much
does
it.
enjoy it. Are they looking forward to these changes, these updates?
Like I said, I booted mine up and played around. I time skipped to tomorrow and started farming the pumpkins and all that. I could see myself because Halloween is probably my favorite holiday. I could see myself getting a lot of these decorations and maybe kind of redoing my island, or at least portions of my island, in kind of like a spooky theme. But this is maybe going to hold my attention for maybe
You don't have
a
to give
month.
us an estimate.
But literally,
it's enough time
right
for you
now,
to give you Thanksgiving, and you'd be like, "Oh, Thanksgiving," and then you're gonna kill turkeys, and then move into Christmas, and you kill reindeer and
Trade
whatever
Jack
the
the
other things you do in
turkey
there.
carcasses.
Well-
Look what I got.
Yep.
but my
Build
hype
your style.
is nowhere near where it used to be. I'm not looking up to see what bugs left from last month, what bugs I'm getting this month, what fish and all this stuff. I'm not gonna hunt all these different things down. I think I might play through the event very casually, just get on there once a day for 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, farm my stuff, do my stuff, and then that'll probably be it. And I don't even think the rest of my family even downloaded it.
They haven't updated
and tried
it.
to play it today. So,
Y'all just burn out. That's all it is.
And once I said that, everything really starts tomorrow, they're like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
we can do it tomorrow."
How do you
at
time
some
skip?
point.
You change the clock on your system, like the GameCube.
Yeah, if you just change, the clock on your system, you can time hop to different days. It's very, very simple.
Do a 7-year time skip.
Pull out the Master Sword.
You can. People have done it.
All right. Brant's family might be looking forward to that when they find out about it tomorrow. New Xbox app for iOS includes game streaming. This also comes from The Verge. Tom Warren. Tom Warren's he's a rising
The guy
star.
who provided us. The guy who provided us with the graphic.
The PS5 movers graphic. Microsoft is about to release a big Xbox app update for iOS that includes the ability to stream Xbox One games to an iPhone. The main stipulation is that you have to be on your own network. No, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
It is games from your Xbox, but you can stream it over other things. So it's like the PlayStation basically
4
remote play. It's different
play
from the xCloud thing. I thought the first time I read it, I thought it was network only, and I was like, eh. So this will allow you to stream over LTE or 5G connection. As the app takes control of your home Xbox, you can remotely start your console outside of your home. So it's kind of like a RDP session, I guess, which is within the Apple scope of what they'll allow.
I mean, I think they're still in the test plan phase or test flight or whatever that shit is. I don't think it's officially out yet.
I need to sign up for it. All right, so sorry, that lets us back in, sir. We're back in the streaming ecosystem for Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That works for me. Now I can play Lost Odyssey at work and then get
120
fired.
frames, Lost Odyssey. What was the motion you made?
That's all. I love that. I love that fucking turn-based motion, 120 frames per second. Through a phone that's not capable of doing 120 hertz.
Speaking of being incapable of 120 hertz, Nintendo has discontinued the 3DS nearly 10 years after release. This comes from The Verge. They're going to stop producing what are the ones they're currently making? The new 3DS LL, new 2DS LL,
3DS.
and 2DS. But each product list out of production.
I think it's, which I think Walmart profusely fire sold a lot of those 2DS XLs, which I unnecessarily bought one a couple months back. I was like, why not?
I know $2 two kids that might be getting them for Christmas if they behave, so that'd be pretty good. They aren't listening, I hope. They're not listening. What are our views on the 3DS? That was a whirlwind console almost. Flopped straight out of the gate.
It's a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
They turned it around. Never sold as much as the original DS, but got halfway there.
Yeah. Brian, did you get one early enough to be in the ambassador program and get the old GBA games and everything?
No, I did not. I did have I still have it somewhere. Have the original.
What caused you to jump?
Like two-tone. I was pulled in by the original idea of when they announced E3, and they touted how you could see these 3D graphics popping off. They weren't wearing glasses. The prospect of it, I was like, well, I love my Nintendo handhelds. I can play the current games I'm playing on this. Plus, I get these new games that have this crazy effect. And then it turns out that, the effect is really cool, but the viewing angle, you have to keep it straight on. And then after of about, 5-10 minutes of being like, oh, yeah, this is cool, you just kind of turn that dial all the way back down.
It always depended on the game for me. Like certain games, it was all the way up for me.
There were several games where I'd get a new game, I'd flick it on just to see how it looked, and then turn it off and continue playing.
I got a game for you, Brent. Go ahead and drop in Radiant Historia and turn it all the way up.
Really?
Because it doesn't fucking work. You might as well just turn it all the way down.
I noticed that there were a lot of games, especially, I guess now toward the end of its life cycle. Even before that, I think During like the Pokemon Sun and Moon stuff. I don't think that
They stopped
I don't
doing that.
remember it really
Being 3D centered.
I don't remember it having 3D. There were a lot of games that stopped using the
I will
3D
admit, Brent,
altogether.
too. One of my favorite memories of 3DS was a Virtual Console. Like I got Super Mario Land 2 and Link's Awakening. Like all of a sudden I had access to these games that I had as a kid again. You know, portable that I didn't have to break out my old Game Boy. But a lot of the 3D stuff, like you were saying, had to do with the hardware. Like I'm pretty sure Cesar is the one that first showed me one of the new systems, and he brought that over and he was like, "Dude, look!" And he was turning it all these different ways, and you still saw the 3D without being in that magic bullshit thing that I had with my original one. And then I was like, "Oh, okay, this." They made a step up with this one, and that depth just seems so much more. Like on Ocarina of Time, it was so well implemented, and Star Fox was glorious to play in 3D.
Oh yeah.
And that's the first time I ever beat either one of those 64
No.
games was on 3DS with those ports. Yep, I never beat them on
Really?
64, but I guess because it was portable, the 3D was awesome. I had headphones hooked up to it. You know, those were the platforms.
Not only that, if you do have one of the new lines of the 3DSs, the new 3DS XL, LL, 2DS, whatever, they use a stronger chipset, and they can emulate those SNES
That's right,
games.
the new system.
And they have, yeah. So there's a plethora of different games you can now play on those systems. I know I downloaded Super Castlevania and I think it was Super Mario World and a handful of other titles once they were available to me with the new 3DS systems.
I didn't hear Breath of Fire 1 or 2. I'm very disappointed.
I'm guessing those were the first ones you got.
Yes. I will always rebuy Breath of Fire 1 and 2. And then 3 on PSP. And then 4 on PSP again. Yes. In that sequential order. Yeah, outside of that, man, I'm like you. I mean, most of my 3DS games are RPGs anyway, so RPG machine for me. But sad to see it go. We'll miss it.
Are we still talking
4-1
3DS?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
There's a
moving on
strong
to your new cloud gaming.
Luna.
Amazon Luna.
By the Amazons. Jeff Bezos is coming straight to your house with a controller to formally invite you to
did y'all
Luna
sign up for
experience.
this?
Jeff Bezos hands you the Switch Pro controller and says, "It's not Google Stadia. Try it."
He says, Richard, what can I tell you? What if I tell you can play this on your iPhone as well? And then he opens up the Safari browser so you can play those games on the Safari browser because that's the only way you can do it on iOS.
Jeff Bezos, I love it. Panzer Dragoon's coming to it. Did y'all sign up to demo this or try it?
I took a shot and did the hey, I'm interested, and let's see where it takes us. So yeah, this was outside of this was announced from Amazon at their 2020 hardware event, where even with that weird new Echo Dot, where I can finally see the time on it. But hey, it's what I always wanted in my Echo Dot, the ability to read time. The service has been rumored since a year, previously codenamed Tempo. This is all from The Verge, from Andrew Webster. It does
look like a Pro controller.
They said this. It's not clear when it will launch. It's for PC, Mac, Fire TV, iPhone, and iPad via web apps. With the Android version planned for after launch, Amazon said they're interested. Users in the U.S. can request early access to the service starting today. There's no word on international availability. The introductory price, introductory being the key word, is $5.99. And Luna Plus channels gives you 2 devices to simultaneously play through and offers 4K 60 frames per second resolution for select titles. Naturally, it will be powered by their AWS, which pretty much runs a whole bunch of other bullshit, Netflix and to name others. They did announce it's going to be 100 games: Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, Plague's Tale, Innocence, The Surge, Yooka-Laylee, Grid, Abzu, Brother, and Tale of Two Sons. Amazon says more titles will be added over time. The company's also partnered with Ubisoft to do a gaming channel, which I'm assuming is their own service, kind of like the EA Access, which is probably similar to like Showtime when you add on the attribute, you pay an additional
And
$1 a
that's
month
smart
that
for
channel.
somebody like Ubisoft that has all these games as a platform, games as a service title, to have that available and then let people buy into whatever they want to after that and get loot and that kind of stuff, you know.
And as Brent mentioned, Amazon went through the trouble of getting refurbished Switch controllers so they can add the purple look and a center button and additional button in the center as well.
And headphone jack.
They kept and a headphone jack.
It looks
which makes
good.
It ultimately
it's like
better.
a Xbox and a Switch controller had a baby, right?
Possibly. The biggest thing they said on here was that Luna's going to feature Switch integration, which is also an Amazon service that Jeff Bezos invites us to participate every week.
We would like you to play. He's going to take up that old Wii. Remember the two guys that would show up at the door?
Mm-hmm. That mantra.
We would like to play.
We would
God,
like to
I love
play
that
with you.
ad campaign. Yep.
So I guess this is their solution for those games that they end up. I think that Crucible game they took a lot of bullshit for, where they launched it and then they took it back because it was ass. So what? Because I say that, but they're making these games. I mean, they needed a platform to put it on outside of the standard PC, and I guess this is what they're going to do with it. Because they still got some other games coming out.
It just makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. So this puts them in, like the article states, it puts them in direct competition with Google Stadia. I don't think so, because you got to piecemeal that shit. And then Microsoft xCloud, which is more competition for xCloud, because that seems to be more of the service they have on there. Because xCloud is really, outside of pushing streaming from your home console, they really pushing Game Pass for xCloud.
So I kind of want to know more details. I don't think there's a lot in here, but the $5.99 a month, that's what we thought Stadia was going to be, right? We thought it was going to be a subscription where you just got access to these games for the same amount. Is that what they're actually doing with this? That's the killer app. That's the killer feature, where you're not having to buy these separate things over and over.
If you're streaming something, I'm less. I mean, I'm not going to buy something that I stream, because that can easily go away for whatever reasons. And people who own that IP have that right to take it away because they own that IP. I may not agree with it. If I pay dollar amount money on there, I expect to keep shit. So cash revolves everything around me, just like Wu-Tang Clan used to say back in the day. I'm not dropping cash, that dollar bill, y'all, unless I'm keeping that game forever. So I mean, the streaming service thing works. I prefer, if you're going to stream, I do the the monthly fee. That's my personal opinion. I think both this and Microsoft xCloud will probably force Google Stadia to relook their plan. They'll have to I think they're going to come out like, all right, we're going to do a subscription base. We'll still let you piecemeal, because we started that, and there's people who want that. But I think they're going to go back and be like, we're going to do a subscription on there, because at this point they're getting hit like a two-pronged war, and they're still trying to get their first-party games out there to justify their service. And I mean, it's Google. They have money,
beta,
but I mean,
technically, right? They haven't actually launched, so
yeah,
Yeah.
it's time. I mean, I think this time they're going to straighten out the road, and it's going to make I think it's going to make Stadia a better service.
This competition makes everybody better. Everything we've talked about between hardware designs, between remote play, there's always been a standard for each one of these, and they're after each other and going back and forth and competing, and we ultimately win as consumers. Google Stadia may end up being the better product, but it may force this subscription thing may force them back into what we thought it was when they first announced it, if Amazon doesn't do it better. But I see Amazon really sticking with this. With as many Fire devices as out there.
I mean, there's only one thing they kind of shit the bed in and they got rid of, was with the Fire phones.
I do remember that.
That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, everything else they pretty much stayed with, outside of like the Fire phones. They were like, they just took the loss on that.
That'd be something interesting to go back and revisit now. Like, could they have done that? Because the Amazon today is different from the Fire phone Amazon, no doubt, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even turn on my lamp in my bedroom by myself. I let Jeff Bezos' Amazon robot do it. I don't want to say her name. She'll start hollering stuff.
Yeah, he comes in.
So.
Nope. It's not actually that person. Jeff Bezos comes down to your house and turns the light off for you.
He slithers through my internet and is like, "Good night, Richard."
So I got you, Birdman.
For as much money as you give him, he better be turning on and off lights for you.
And then he comes by and delays your package for 2 weeks.
Have they screwed me like that?
It has to be perfectly
They haven't
balanced.
screwed me like Best Buy has recently. I'm on a warpath with Best Buy.
I don't think Amazon. They screwed me a couple times, but not bad. Like
Yeah.
not Best Buy bad. I don't think Best Buy's ever screwed me that bad.
They got
Like
me on
they screwed you.
Xenoblade too. Remember
Like that fucking shit. It's like it was sitting next to my package in Alaska.
the EDF
Somehow
the
got
EDF
up there.
package?
I'm like, I got a notification like your package is in Anchorage. I'm like, how did it get there? And then I looked at the little map. It was like it's near EDF. It was like Earth Defense Force. I was like, what's happening? Why is that in Anchorage? And why is it labeled clearly? But outside of that, but yeah. That's everything with that service, and I guess we'll find out more about it. Hopefully, one of us will get in there to test it out.
I'm positive on this. I
I
really do want to try it out. I'll, if you have to purchase the controller or whatever. And there's a lot of, you see the stuff they're advertising, right? Like just on that main page on the TV, it's got Lumines, it's got R-Type, so it's, it's not exactly a point and click adventure game or something like that. It's something that'll require good latency. So, be some cool things to try.
I mean, they have they have a good data centers, just like Google and Microsoft. They'll take the hit. I'm sure they'll perform well. So
we got folks in the chat I'm trying to interact with.
You're fine. So the next thing we'll that's pretty much all we have to talk about Luna. So the next thing we'll bring up is PlayStation Plus for October and Games with Gold for the Xbox, which was announced yesterday. Can't remember. So our final month of PlayStation Plus before we get the 17 game bullshit that comes out in November for PS5 is going to be Need for Speed Payback and the Vampires with a Y. Vampire with a Y. Without an E? Vampire? Without Y-E? Yeah. All right, whatever. Vampire. So I haven't played this Need for Speed. I bought several versions of this Vampire on PS4 and Switch and have yet to play it. So I have no.
I think Michael was a fan of it.
Yeah.
He sold me on it at some point.
I think he liked what was it, Need for Speed, the latest one. Which
Payback?
one was?
Is this one of the Ghost Games one?
It says on here, survive thrilling heist missions. They had me a heist. Partake in metal crunching car battles. Perform dazzling set pieces and more in this four-wheeled action blockbuster. It seems like this is more of the story-driven one, not the underground racing type stuff.
It's gone in 60 seconds.
You lost me. I was in the heist and you lost me gone in 60 seconds.
Cars go vroom.
And then Vampire is a Life is Strange developer. Don't Nods Entertainment challenges you to embrace the darkness with this 1918 set third-person action RPG with deep narrative choices. You play a doctor turned vampire ghosting through a London gripped by, oh my god, I'm already bored. Gripped by violence and fear. It's like American Werewolf in London.
Moving on to Games with Gold, vampires. You're gonna get Slayaway Camp Butcher's Cut from October 1st to 31st. Made of Skur, which is from Scare. It's Scare.
Scare. Yeah. I watched the trailer. They said Scare. It's a really odd way to spell it, but right. they pronounce it
show
Scare.
Charles is currently enjoying this one on PS4, he told me.
I'm playing this on PS4 and it's like a weird
you don't
shoot
thing. Or something, right? He said there's no ammo or there's no
hide.
It's just it's a bunch of hiding and it's like I don't know. I think I played it for like 15 minutes and I'm like I'm just gonna have to have patience with this, and I took it out and started playing something else. And I was like, I think I got to the part where I got into the elevator. I'm not sure how far Charles got, but I got into the elevator, and I think that's where I stopped because I had to keep ringing these bells on the wall and they light up lights. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's happening here. Probably, I just didn't have the patience to do it at the time. Yeah, I was like, I'll fuck with this later. This is before I went on vacay or went on holiday.
You were on the holiday,
as they say. I was on the holiday. I took a week away on holiday.
Well, we bring it back around to annoying songs.
Celebrate.
But then we're also getting Sphinx and the Curse of the Mummy and Costume Quest. Oh
Costume Quest, I can verify. I unlocked every trophy in that on PS3.
Costume Quest is good.
I fucking love that game. The game. It's a turn-based RPG. If you're in the mood for a turn-based RPG, and it's nice and quirky, and it's like maybe 5 to 8 hours. Never got into the sequel. I love the first game a lot. So,
the both PS Plus games will be available October 6th. Slayaway Camp Butcher's Cud, available
Now.
October 1st. Made of Scare, October 16th. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, October 1st. And Costume Quest, October 16th.
I think the highlight out of that one is y'all's Made of Scare and Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. And Cesar says Costume Quest, so it's a pretty good month overall for Xbox.
Costume Quest is very good. It's very underrated.
And this is the Sphinx. This isn't the port of Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. This is the backwards compatible Xbox original.
Yes.
I think the port only was on Switch.
Really?
It never got released on
I thought that was
else.
something that came out on everything.
Yep. It was Switch and PC, I think.
All right, gentlemen. Holy shit. Hour and a half through news. We did it somehow.
I'm sitting here watching the basketball game scores changing back and forth. I'm trying to keep up. It's like the Heat was in the lead, now the Lakers are in the lead. And
Oh dear God, let's wrap this shit up. I only played Halo. I wanted to play some Mario to have some comparisons with you guys, but I did not play any Mario. It was nice to actually have a break from games. I didn't play anything. I just I played Halo the week we left, so right after recording.
Yeah.
I did. I had Cesar playing Halo. That's it. Okay, we do have something to discuss.
Really?
Cesar, what did you think of our Halo 1 madness?
I liked it better before your boss joined our game, and then he ruined my. When we started getting all the hard people in there,
Brant, he has a higher Halo rating because they play way more than we do. They play Halo 4, so he brought all those level tier people over with us scrubs.
I was doing okay until Derek joined the game, and I'm like, I was dying left to right. As soon as I spawned, I died.
Okay, so listeners know I play every Friday and Saturday night, right? Here's Cesar. He's booting up on the Xbox next to me. I'm like, he might struggle a little bit, whatever. We're just having fun. It's never been that kind of thing for us, competitive-wise. And I'm watching every round after the leaderboard. Cesar's above me. I'm like, what the fuck? What am I spending my time doing?
I'm shooting people in the face with a shotgun.
You like that muskets round, huh?
I just like shoot him in the face.
Like Cesar's finishing above me every time. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I'm not good at games. But it was a lot of fun doing muskets, and we never got to do Hellraisers. You never got to see the flamethrower rounds. But you played some Fiesta, you played muskets, so you got and it was fun, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Have to get on there with us one night.
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing
it.
It's
for me.
not that bad.
It's my Halo update with Cesar this time. I brought a friend.
Yeah. Then we're gonna bring Brant, and this is gonna be Halo updates every week.
Halo cast.
And we play nothing else.
Yep. Halo cast.
And we'll be sponsored by Xbox, and we'll have.
I already am, and I picked a green soda. Oh, wrong way.
Well done. Cover up those PS2 games in the back. You fucking up.
No.
You fucking up.
I don't have an Xbox game to put on top of it. I took Warriors out of here. I had the Warriors in here. I could have put on top of the Xbox or on top of the PS2 games. I could have defeated the curse.
Yeah.
Who's next? I'm done.
Outside of me, I mean, I didn't play much.
Tell us about
play
Hades.
much last week either. I think I played a little.
I do know you played some Hades.
I didn't play any Hades yet.
Okay, that's what it was.
I downloaded Hades, but I haven't played it yet. The only game I played I did play some Mario 64, the 3D All Stars. That game is not forgiving on that fucking Switch controller. I'm walking off the ledges left and right with 2 analog sticks. I kind of need those face buttons for the camera.
I did with the Crash reboot or the Crash remake.
Yes, I mean I think I got up to the first Bowser boss battle, and I just kept. There's some parts where you have to get the right coins on that beam, and I just I'll get that last coin and then just walk straight off, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then Bowser laughs at me, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I think that was exactly the only game I played last week. Outside of before that, I did some the Halo with you, and I think I did that. I already talked about my Mate Scare, which was just when I fired it up, I was like, this is basically like BioShock. That's what it reminded me of. I'm walking around like the arms, and I can tell they got their inspiration from that. Outside of that, the only thing I put in major time since I got back was a 13 Sentinel game for PS4.
Yeah.
It's fucking good. It's so fucking good. Oh, man, it's good as hell. I can't really go into details about it because it is a visual novel. outside of I'm waiting for it to load so I can get the full name because I think it's 13 Sentinel Aegis something. Yeah, Aegis Rim. 13 Sentinels. So it is a visual novel mixed with kind of like a tower defense game, and as their battles. So you start out this prologue where you have an introduction to some of these characters, and it's weird because it's only like maybe there's 13 Sentinels that are like these giant robots, and you're fighting these kaiju's in Tokyo in 1985. But then you play these. You don't they don't give you the full protagonist, so they give you like half of them, 7, and so you get like pieces of the story. So you're seeing like some of these characters are as the story progresses, you'll see like, and you'll like this, Richard, because you just finished War of the Worlds. So apparently, in this time period in 2084, the world is completely destroyed, and there's from these. They're not tripods, but they're actually quadpods. They look just like the War of the Worlds. They come down from space, and they just wiped out all humanity. And so they build these Sentinels to battle them. The problem is they keep losing, and they keep pushing them back to different time periods. So the next one is 2024. So it kind of jumps around a lot because there's 4 generations of the Sentinels, even though they made the first generation when the original attack. But somebody went back in time and it's like, okay, we're going to create Sentinels here, 2nd generation. Somebody went to 1985, we'll create another Sentinels here, 3rd generation. Somebody went back to 1945
Are they the
and created
same
the 4th
models,
generation.
or do they like improve the mechs every time?
They improved them. So some of them are aerial, some of them are all-arounders, some of them are just attack, some of them can attack on the ground. So it's like they did different abilities to attack these invasions. And the people who are invading, or these monsters or these aliens are invading, are also upgrading as they're going through time, because as you change the timeline, they're adapting to it as well. So now instead of invading in 2084, they tried in 2025, and now we're in 1985, and they got the invasion going on. So you have these Aegis, like in the name, which is like a defense system underground that uses these UFOs that they came in through to activate and destroy them. So you're going around in these Sentinels, and you're trying to activate all these Aegises to protect Tokyo in 1985. You're breaking down, and like that's where the tower defense portion of the game is. So you get the visual novel part where it gives you the story, and it's kind of broken up. So there's different paths, so you can see different attributes of these different stories from these characters from different angles to get the full picture. Because it's like it's very confusing. So you get like Juro was just the main character, and he's named somebody. These other characters know him differently from another name. He comes from the future from 2085, but he's in 1985. He doesn't remember anything, so something's happened. So it's like you don't know what's happening. You got to kind of like unfold the story to figure it out. I haven't gotten that far with it yet to find out what's going on.
Sounds good.
So
well, how did the gameplay elements play out?
So the story's told through a visual novel where you go through and you kind of do different, like a standard visual novel. You talk to characters and you choose different story paths to get different parts of the story. To progress through the story, the battles is the tower defense game. So you come up and you have to protect that. It's like a game where you choose those characters and the Sentinels they are in. And it's straight tower defense. So you have a center of the Aegis you have to protect until it activates to protect that sector. And they send in these hordes of enemies at you. And depending on the attributes of your Sentinel, if it's a flyer or all-rounder, you attack different types of these monsters. And they'll let you know at the beginning of the level, like, hey, a lot of flying enemies in this level, so you got to make sure you choose the flyers to do the battles. The problem is they got what they call as a BOL, which is a brain overload. So you can only use certain characters and certain Sentinels
from spamming
the same one over and over. Then
Nice.
They got to take a break in the next wave. So you have to kind of adjust, and you have 13 Sentinels. So half of them you put on defense, and then half of them you put in attack. And so the ones that are in attack, they're going to end up doing the brain overloads. So it's like you have to kind of adjust each level and play based off what enemies are coming through. So if you fucked up and put there's 4 flyers that can attack flyers. If you fucked up and overload their brains and you go to a flyer level, then you're screwed because nobody else can knock them down. So it's like you have to use that attribute. As you go through there, you unlock more of the visual novel aspects of the story because they kind of go back in there and their interaction with the characters. Like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. How do you know that? And it kind of unlocks stuff that you can experience in the visual novel
so
part.
It's well written,
different story
character-wise, and
to get the full
jumping paths and all that.
It's good. It is good as fuck, man. It's really good. I don't know what's happening because it's like I'm still in the thick of it. I'm still initially like halfway through the game, and it's like the time-based stuff is all over the place. There's some characters that died, they show back up again, and I think it's something to do similar like Steins Gate where they're jumping different world lines. So I think they changed something in the past or in the future. They're in a different war line. So it's like they're not in the original dimension they were at. They're like in another dimension just because they changed time periods, because whatever changes they did, like the AKA butterfly effect, they move into another piece of that history's redone, because I mean the original war was in 2084, but now it's in 1985. So it's like 1985 Tokyo, which is cool because you get that whole aesthetic in the background as you go through that visual novel portion. Majority of it takes place in 1985, so you get that whole 80s vibe, especially with the some of that's in there. Like some of the electric guns are in there, and then you get the whole aspect like those punk kids where they have those little 50s haircuts. And they're like from the high school bullies and all that stuff. Like I'm the bully, you know, like that generic stuff. That's all in there. It's good as hell, man. It's really good. It's worth every penny. I like it a lot, especially if you're not a big visual novel fan. The story tells in there is very good, and it's I do enjoy the tower defense parts of the game too. It's not like it's a bullshit tactic they kind of threw in there to just add depth to the game. It's actually very good and requires a lot of strategy to make sure you get all those ways down right. Are there fail states
with the way the story and gameplay intertwine? Like, can you make wrong decisions, or will failure in the strategy like affect the way the story goes and send you on another path? Like, how do those usually play out?
There's no permadeath. I mean, depending on the visual novel aspect, you can choose different branching stories to get different like the original one, you might be in the hallway like, oh, I need to go to this area, and you meet somebody. And then the second aspect, you might bump into somebody and it totally changes your whole aspect for that day. And you get a different view from different characters as you go through there. And you can go do those branching storylines. Some of those branching storylines, they stop at a certain point, and there's some that are key to continue the story. So, but it gives you the ability to view the background between all those characters and how they interact and how they met and how they have that backstory for them all. The only fail states you get is during the tower defense portion. So if the main character dies, then it's game over. There's certain win streaks and win bonuses that'll require you to win this level. You have to include Kitsuragi and put him in there, and he has to be part of that battle system. If you don't, then you don't get that bonus point. And then if he's in there, he unlocks another portion of the story, which continues in the visual novel aspect. And so then they have they break it down to remembrance, battle, and there's like a bestiary type thing where you unlock different aspects that explains the story as it goes. So it kind of keeps track of everything that's going on because there's a lot that's happening. And it kind of gives you the backstory on the creatures that invaded, the different time periods, the different characters in those different time periods and what they were doing and how it's going.
The world sounds great.
It's pretty good.
Like really fleshed out.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is deep, man. There's a character that had his memory wiped. And there's a girl that he met in 2025 that she fell in love with him. He came from 2084. Something happened. They had to wipe his memory, and he doesn't remember her at all in 1985. So she's trying to interact with him, and they're telling her not to interact with him because it's going to mess up the control they have on his head. So it's like a lot of fucked up stuff's happening, and it's a bunch of just teenager kids in high school trying to save the world. They jump in these sentinels. It's very, very anime-ish.
It's awesome.
So it's good shit, man.
I know you like visual novels. I need to play through one with you.
One of the best games.
We need to stream one.
I mean, visual novels, I like a lot of bullshit visual novels, which can kind of be like borderline sometimes. But because I do like the romance aspects of there, I'm not big on the. But outside of that, Steins Gate's really good. This is really good, and it seems like anything with the time-based stuff is the really interesting stuff on there. Because Steins Gate had a lot of with time-based, and it made it very sci-fi-ish. This Aegis one is very fucking good. It's very fucking good. It's probably one of the best games I ever played. I don't want to be playing that right now and doing this. No offense.
All right. And
that's all I'm thinking about is playing that game, because usually what I'm going to do is once we're done with this, I'm going to fire that game back up. I'm going to throw the NBA Finals on this phone.
And that's 13 Sentinels what? Okay. Is that the first in its series, or?
It's the first and probably the only one, because I think George Katani, I forgot what his name is. He works for Vanillaware in Japan, and
That's right. This is a Vanillaware joint, isn't it?
They poured a lot. Yeah, this game has been in development for like 3 or 4 years, and he told people he hopes it does it well. They probably won't be able to make another game like this, and this is like a once in a lifetime experience for them, and they're glad they got it out. Because remember, this was having development issues for a while. So, because remember, they came out with the prologue game in Japan a year ago. I bought the prologue game, which only handles the first 2 hours of the game, and that was like a demo. You pay like $40 for the demo that helped development of the game. Basically, it just gave you a taste of it. We didn't get that here, but they did in Japan. So
very cool.
Outside of that, I think that's all I played. It's all on you, Brent.
Bring us home. Days gone.
Super Mario All Stars.
Give us a deep dive. Popped it in. Does it play like it's supposed to? Oh my God! I can't believe they're emulated.
And before you start, I forgot to mention I did play Genshin Impact. It is fucking Breath of the Wild. It's Breath of the Wild.
what I
Gonna be
keep
Breath of
hearing.
the Wild. I'll leave it at
That's
that.
what I keep
only
hearing.
put like an hour in it. It's fucking Breath of the Wild. I'm climbing shit and I'm getting stamina loss. It's fucking Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
Free to play though.
Free to play?
Yep,
Heck
free
yeah.
to play.
All right, Brent, tell us about that 3D All Stars, not 3DS All Stars.
So I booted up. Of course, I did them in their chronological order. I started on Super Mario 64.
And then set fuck this game like I did.
I got 60 stars before I said fuck this game.
Well done. That's like half the fucking game. Yeah.
That's more than half. Well, yeah, that's like half the overall stars. You need like 70 to finally get to the end there.
Oh, you need fucking 120. Was 120 for Yoshi?
How many do you need to beat
Yeah.
it? I thought I got less than 60 to beat it. It's 70 something?
No, you have to get 70 to get up to
Why'd you give
the
up?
final
You're close.
area. And
the controls?
Yeah. No, I mean, to me, the game doesn't control as the controls aren't as tight on this version as they are on the original hardware. And from everything that I've looked at, apparently it's a little yes and a little no. This seems to be the best version that we've gotten of this game. That's been re-released since the Nintendo 64. The different emulation of it
console,
on the Wii U, and all that was not the greatest. And plus, the ways to play it weren't always the best as far as the controllers. And the only thing that this game apparently suffers from is the gait of the stick, because the range of the motion that it was designed for on the 64 sometimes will severely mess you up on a jump, like Cesar was saying, where he would go to and just completely miss a jump.
Happened to you a bunch?
Yeah, and not only that, this isn't like we had talked about in a previous episode. Speedrunners were upset because this was a different version, and this is based on a version that was released a couple years later in Japan. It's an updated version.
I have a hard copy of one of those, the Rumble Pack one. I have a hard copy of that on 64. Yep.
Yeah. And it changed the way Mario would grab trees, grab poles, and jump off things certain ways. So, but honestly, I played with the Pro controller. Didn't really have too much of an issue. And it's a good game. It's extremely frustrating just because of the camera controls. It definitely makes it.
So where do they put camera controls on this?
The right stick. And it's literally you just have to each
yellow button.
It's literally you only have the 4 cardinal directions to press, and so every direction that you're doing on the stick, left or right, you have to do it every single time to move the camera once every time. So it's just but eventually I just got so tired out on some of the bullshit in that game and jumped into
Brent, you're close, man. Knock it out.
Almost at the very end. I'm gonna
fuck this game and beat it.
Don't worry, I'll go back and get those last 10 that I need to at least get to Bowser.
Play it on stream and I'll commentate. Me and Cesar will be the peanut gallery.
So from there, I jumped into Mario Sunshine, which is a game I played nonstop on my GameCube.
I really do.
Zero, Cesar.
I've put 0 minutes in that game.
Oh, it is a very
ever, even on the GameCube, 0 minutes.
Apparently, you either love it or hate it. I love it.
I haven't played it at all. Can't form an opinion.
But even with this, I've seen people go, I hated this when it came out, and now going back and replaying it, it's not a bad game. I enjoyed it this time. I loved it. The biggest problem I have with most of these is there's no options. Nintendo doesn't really like giving you options. You can't, aside from changing languages, there's not much you can do. You can't remap your buttons. You can't invert or uninvert. They kind of did that for you in some cases. They didn't give you a choice. Some things that were inverted in 64 are now the opposite. The flying is still the same. In Mario Sunshine, the control of FLUDD was actually inverted. In this game, it's not inverted,
weird,
so that messed me up first go.
To go with it.
Better for me.
Yeah,
That's the best way to play it now.
Definitive edition.
Not only that, it's because of the analog triggers on the controller. They've mapped the way you will control FLUDD to two different
Now, how does that work on
two different buttons. So normally with the analog triggers, the more you press in the trigger, the more you shoot with FLUDD, and if you are pressed all the way down on the trigger, you are standing in one place,
Right.
Full stream. On this one, you can run and shoot just by pressing ZR. You can run around and shoot, but to stand in place and do directional shooting, more precise, you just press the R trigger. So it took a little bit of getting used to.
They took the analog controls and split it amongst two buttons. I see. That's weird.
It's weird. Like I said, it took some getting used to. This was my comfort device. This is my Power A wireless GameCube controller.
Site sponsor.
This at least gave me the feel I was looking for, while retaining all of the extra buttons because it's got extra triggers. The both sticks actually click, so it gave me all the extra options with the feel I'm used to. Some of the actions are mapped to different buttons, so that again took an extra second to get used to. But that took me 4 days to run through
Sunshine
and
in 4 days.
Yeah, maybe
Damn, you knocked that
4
one
or
out.
5 days. Just sitting there and playing it. And I know where a lot of stuff is, and what was fun is my kid was playing it. Yeah, my kid was playing it, and he's like, "Hey, did you go over here? You want to see something cool?
Nice.
Do this. All right, do this, do this. Those are 3 easy shines right there." And he's like, "How do you know that? How do you know?" The kid, I used to just come home from school and just play this game like for hours. So
Did you just have a GameCube that generation as a youngster?
I had PlayStation 2 and then GameCube, and mainly played on the PS2, and then the GameCube I had like Ultimate Spider-Man, I had Mario Kart, Double Dash, Sunshine. Yeah, dude, I was looking in my because all of these games, with the exception of the last one, I booted up on original hardware and played just to test and see how it felt. And one for one, they're all pretty good.
It's good to hear.
And what's interesting is I took out the Mario Sunshine that I have and opened it up, and I've got my original receipt in there from the 2015 at GameStop in East Point
that I went to. Recently.
And yeah.
How much was it in 2015?
Or no,
2005.
Not 2015.
Did you get it brand new?
2005. Sorry. Yeah, but it was the
Player's Choice,
greatest hits or bestsellers.
Was it $20?
Player's Choice.
God, that's a hell of a deal.
I believe it might have been. Yeah, I think it was
God,
$20.
that's a hell of a deal, man. You said East Point? Did I know who was working
Yeah,
there then? I want to see your receipt. I want to see who the
you might
sales
have.
clerk was.
Yeah,
It might have been.
well,
It might have been my
I'll
old roommate.
pull it up.
Seriously, it might have been me. I
So,
used to work out there a couple times.
like I said, probably maybe about 5 days to beat Sunshine. I think I ran through it in about a week, a little less than a week. And then starting Sunday, I boot up Super Mario Galaxy and beat
Damn,
it
he's destroyed
yesterday.
this collection.
Uh, I played again with the Switch Pro controller. The gyro control is a hell of a lot more responsive than the
Nice. Is
Wiimotes
that?
ever
Would you
were.
say that's the definitive way to
The
play
way that
Galaxy? Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's some times that just because of the way Galaxy is and the way you move on these planetoids and stuff, you get a little disoriented going from regular up
Right.
to the side, upside down, back to the side, and sometimes I'd have an issue where I'm holding the stick straight up to run straight up, and then all of a sudden Mario's just like running in circles for no reason. So I have to literally just let go of the stick and then press forward again, and he goes fine. Um, and I don't know if that's just something with the
Yeah.
version of this game or just some kind
Just a
of
couple of
weird
quirks.
thing to do with the gravity in the game and the physics being all wonky. Um, but yeah, I mean, all it is, I mean, the when you want to collect those star bits and everything that you see on the screen, you press the R button, and the icon will appear in the middle of the screen, and you can recenter it at any time just by pressing that R button, and it goes off the
So you just
gyro in
sweep
your
the controller
controller
around to pick them up.
rather than
Nice.
yep, rather than
Yeah.
having to point it at the screen and waggle
Or have a second player
um
there shooting them.
and yeah. And the thing I did that I noticed about this game was it was either extremely easy or extremely hard. All the missions, all the different levels, there was no in between where it was okay. Well, this is a little bit of a challenge, and it's going to take me a little bit more time. It's just either very very easy, and maybe that's just because I ran through two Mario games back to back, so it was like
Right.
ingrained in my mind. Mario.
As opposed to
Um,
Luigi Mario.
um, but yeah, it was either super easy stuff or it was just man, this is bullshit. I'm not gonna do this
No
level.
gray area.
Um, yeah, but yeah, I beat that. I beat that yesterday afternoon. And it's a good game, and playing it on the Switch with that control, uh, I don't say takes away from the experience as the game was intended, because with the Wiimote and Nunchuck, it was always kind of
Yeah.
odd
Yeah.
playing it that way. Most games were, um, but with yeah, and the waggles and trying to figure out exactly what you're doing.
And you're playing
was-
Samba de Amiga the whole time.
Don't mind me, Mom. Just collecting my star
But-
bits.
But yeah, I enjoyed playing it. Definitely with the Pro controller seems to be the consensus. It seems to be the best way to play the game. My kid booted it up, and since he has the Switch Lite, he was telling me he didn't really like it having to do just the touch screen, since all the function for that is mapped to the touch
For
screen.
the star bits?
And he wasn't. Yeah, for collecting star bits.
So you have to stop everything you're doing and touch the.
So anything that was due to the motion control, or what would be now gyro control, is specifically touch. So anything you had to do, like
I play almost always portably. I'm gonna be galaxying it on TV.
collecting star bits, those segments where you're in the little bubble and you have to press A and move your little cursor around to like blow the bubble wherever you need to go. So you're literally having to hold A and one-handed hold the console and
No.
draw your finger wherever you're
No.
trying to push that. So he said he did not enjoy that. So he has that on Wii, and he
picked
been
it back
playing
up
it on there, and
original
he said
hardware.
he said if he wants to play it, he'll play it on Wii, or he'll just have another save file on my game, play it on TV. So all in all,
Damn, you destroyed
great
that
collection.
game, dude. You burned up those 3. Are you still on a Mario kick?
I gotta go back and get those. Honestly, I mean, I could take a break, but it is kind of bugging me that I didn't complete 64,
play
completing
64
the
on
other
a
two
stream.
like I did.
I'll do commentary. That'd be a good time. Or you could play the actual prequel to Super Mario Galaxy and go back to your Ratchet and Clank games.
Yeah.
The true prequel.
True. And then I booted, like I said, I had booted up Animal Crossing today. And just barely did any of that. But that was mainly it. My entire 2 weeks was devoted to was to diving into this collection and seeing, with all the vitriol and mockery that this game got. These are good games. These are good versions of the games, and it's great to have these on an updated
That's all we
system.
ever wanted.
That's all we ever needed.
But we want it back.
Oh. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Oh, is that it for us? We're 2 hours in. We made it through hour and a half of news. Me and Cesar played Halo. Cesar wouldn't shut up about Halo. Then he talked about Aegis Ring, 13 Sentinels, and Brant played the hell out of... How did I go the right way? I knew it was going to be the wrong way. Brant played the hell out of 3D All-Stars Mario Collection for Switch, and also played all of them on original hardware, which is a double feat. So those are our games played. You guys have anything else you want to add? Oh, I'm trying to get us on Amazon Music. I submitted everything I think I needed to do, but I haven't seen it pop up yet. So
we gotta wait for Jeff Bezos to come down and grant you access.
Get Jeff Bezos over here. Just call him. Say, Alexa, call Bezos.
It'll just float down to you like this. Oh. I'm here to give you your podcast.
Bezos. Bezos
Santos.
All right, I guess that's it for us. Thank you for joining us this week, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Adios.
See you.